Dear learners, welcome to today's session. So it is BSOC 132 fourth class. I do hope definitely all are enjoying the first class, and I welcome to Dr. Manas Dakua's today's session. So I don't want to take much time. I am just hand over the session to Dr. Manas. And please, student, write your enroll number name in the chat box. Manas sir,
Yes, sir.
go ahead, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, learners. So today we'll discuss about block 4, that is about social identity and change. So it is about a movement generally. So today we'll discuss about various movements. Okay. So what are the reason of movement? Then why you need change? So we will discuss. So in that we'll discuss about what is movement. Then various types of movements means important movements like we'll first discuss about the Dalit movement. What are the issues, what are the challenges, and who are the leaders who started this movement. Then we'll discuss about gender movement, its related issues and how they started this movement. And finally, we'll discuss about BSOC movements. So that is related to the problem of tribes and ethnicity. So before we'll start with these three movements, first we have to clear about what is movement. So movement means what? Now to bring change or to resist change. Okay. So movement what? Now movement means what? Here movement means not physical movement means a demographic movement that one place to another. No. Movement means what? It is there is various type of movements are there. There is reform movements are there, revivalist movement are there, revolutionary movements are there. So different type of movements are there. So movements means what? Now movements are started to what? Now it started for the rights. Okay, for the rights, these movements are started. Then what is the difference between movement and change? Movement means what? Now movements brings either pa- uh, uh, partial change or drastic change. So change is always associated with movements. So to bring change or to resist change or to preserve change, we started a movement. So just I discussed that today we'll discuss about three movements. That Dalit movement. Why Dalit movement started? It means the Dalit they want some bring change in their life. Similarly, gender-based movement. So gender-based movement or women movement started why? Now for their rights. Similarly, tribals and ethnic peoples. So they are facing many problems. So for that reason, they started various type of movements. So before we will start these three movements, so first we will clear about what are the important things in a movement. So in generally, a movement start with three things. Three things are required for a movement. So first is leadership, second thing is ideology, and third is resources. So without a leader, a movement is not possible. Starting a movement is not possible. So ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ movement ପାଇଁ କ'ଣ ଏ ତିନିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଦରକାର ଗୋଟେ leadership, ଗୋଟେ ideology ଥିବା ଦରକାର ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି resources. So ଏଇଟା ଆମେ first ଟିକେ discussion କରିବା. Why leader needs? जो movement ପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ leader ନିହାତି ଦରକାର. Okay. So କାହିଁକି? ନା for example ଆମେ ଯଦି take the example of freedom struggle. Okay. So freedom struggle is a movement also. Freedom movement जो ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ freedom struggle. So means when Britishers came to India, okay. So in that period, we are not united, okay. But Gandhi came to India and he take the leadership, charismatic leadership, हम जो कहूँ, charismatic leadership that he influenced the people. So people ମାନଙ୍କୁ से influence କରିପାରୁଥିଲେ, okay. So under the leadership of Gandhi, we got independence in India. So leadership is must. Why leadership is must? Not to mobilize the people, okay. Mobilize the people means what? Na to motivate them, okay, and lead the movement. So for that reason, for every movement, it's maybe Dalit movement, tribal movement, women movement. So in every movement, there must should be a leader. So leader is must. Next is ideology. So ideology means what? ना गोटे movement just ସେମିତି ହିଁ start ହୁଏନି ତା ପଛରେ କିଛି ନା କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ideology ଥାଏ. Okay. କୋଉ ideology କି ନେଇକି ସେ movement ଟା start ହଉଛି. Okay. So for example ଆମେ ଯଦି ଧର freedom struggle କଥା କହିବା, freedom movement କଥା କହିବା, ତ ତା ideology କଣ ଥିଲା? ନା peace, non-violence, okay, satyagraha. So these are some of the ideologies. So similarly in every movement, for examples like in Dalit movement, there are some ideologies are there. Ideologies means what? Now here they use ideologies of, for examples like Marx, equality, okay, other ideologies like justice, freedom. So these are in every freedom there must be a ideology to that. Okay, ideology means I will clearly କହିଦେଉଛି ideology means what? For example ଆମେ ଯଦି କହୁଛେ communism. Communism means I ism ଲଗେଇଲା ମାନେ ସେଟା ଗୋଟେ ideology ହଉଛି means we follow that ideology. We believe on that ideology. So the second thing is ideology. Third thing is resources. Okay. So resources means what? Ko? Now for a movement we need many things. What first is what? First is members, the population. Without leader, a movement is not possible. Similarly, leader thiba but followers not thiba. So then a movement will not successful. So ଗୋଟେ resources ହେଲା ଯେ members ବା population ବା followers. Second thing କଣ? ନା second thing ହଉଛି for example ଆମେ ଯଦି କହିବା suppose other things like media, finance ହଉ ତ ଗୋଟେ movement କୁ I mean continue କରିବା ପାଇଁ ବା highlight କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ publicity ବି ଦରକାର ଯେମିତି ଏଇଟା highlight ହବ ତ highlight ହେଲେ ହିଁ ଗୋଟେ movement ଟା ଚାରିଆଡେ spread ହେଇପାରିବ and then we realize the importance of this movement. So ଏଇ ତିନିଟା ଜିନିଷ ନିହାତି ଦରକାର leadership, ideology and resources. So this is about the simple meaning of movement. The movement can start with the movement start with to bring change, to bring change in the society or to bring in the change in the community or to bring change in the life of people. So for that reason we started a movement to bring change in the society. Or another thing is that revivalist means what? Now back to means to preserve the means the customs traditions so that preserve କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମେ ସେଇଟା କରୁଛୁ ତ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଣ ନା reform so reform then revivalist and revolutionary ସେଇ ତିନିଟା ଭିତରେ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ clear କରିଦେବି
That's why I'll do
so
the
so
I'll
reform
do the
movements
basic.
means what
Last.
Classes here.
so reform movement means
Classes
what
time.
the reform movement is what the reform movement is what not to bring partial change in the society not total change okay for example like upliftment of Dalits okay or raise the status of women okay so ଏଗୁଡାକୁ କଣ କୁହାଯାଏ and these are the reforms to bring partial change in the society or life of the people partial change not total transformation revivalist means what revivalist means what now to back there is change okay there is change but to bring back the change so that is known as revivalist and last one is revolutionary movement. So revolutionary movements means what? Not total transformation of the system or social structure or the total structure of the society. So that is known as what? Na revolutionary movements. So revolutionary movements, for examples like we know many revolutionary movements. For examples like freedom movements, that is a revolutionary movement. French Revolution, that is a revolutionary movement. So in this way, three movements are there: reform, revivalist, and revolutionary. But many of movements today we'll discuss that are reformative movements. For examples like Dalit movements. That is not revolutionary movement. That is reform movement to bring some change in the life of the people. To say that. Another is what, for examples like gender, women movement, gender-based movement. That is also reform movements. Means to bring some change in the life of the woman's life, no total transformations. Because still patriarchy is going on. Okay, still women are exploited, women are deprived. Okay, so for that reason, we need some bring change in their life. So it is reform. Similarly, tribal movements are both. It's reformative movements, for example, tribal movement or ethnic movements. That is totally reform movement and revolutionary movements. ଆମେ ଯଦି କହିବା tribals movement ରେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଅଛି, for examples like Naxalites, that is the revolutionary movements. Okay, first they started movement for the rights of the tribals, then they take the violent path. So it means a total revolutionary. So in this way, in different movements, we follow different methods. For example, reform, revivalist, that is. And another thing is that what method, मुझे कहली ideology दरकार बा methods दरकार है. So methods means what? The methods means what? In which method we started the movement. Okay, for example, freedom struggle. So freedom struggle la method थी non-violence, सत्याग्रह. Similarly, in case of these Dalit movements, okay, what is the method? Similarly, peaceful method, not violence method. In gender also, the method is same, peaceful, non-violence method. In tribal movement, it's both. The method is sometimes is peaceful and sometimes is violent form of movements. So this is about the movements. There are various movements are there in our country or outside the country also. Okay. So movement is necessary to bring change in the society. There is movement to the happening, then we will not get our rights. To for our rights, we started a movement. Okay. Recent example ଯଦି ମୁଁ ଦେବି ବହୁତ ସାରା examples ଅଛି. Means people started movement against women exploitation हो, corruption हो, ବା related to territory हो, जम्मू कश्मीर issue हो. ତ ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ କିଛି ନା କିଛି ଗୋଟେ movement ହଉଛି. The movement ଟା କାହିଁକି ହଉଛି? ଯଦି society if there is no problem, if there is no problem, then there is no movement. So due to problem, because of there are some problems are there, to solve that problem or for the rights. Okay. So every Indian has the right of equality, right to freedom. If someone's freedom is hampered, then movement started. In it may be individual case, it may be in a group case. So movement is required for bring change in the society or to transform the society or to revive the society. We need a movement. So with that, now we are clear about the what is movement. But here we know that social movement. Okay. So why it is social movement? Movements are various types. But why it is social movement? And because it is related to society. It is related to social life. For that reason, it is known as social movements to bring change or to resist change. So both resist change means what? Not to preserve the tradition and customs. For example, in time of Britishers, when Britishers came to India, they trying to change our custom and traditions, to bring change and custom traditions, to abolish many practices. But Indians, they preserve preserve their culture. They don't want change in their culture and traditions. Okay, so they resist change. They don't want change. So similarly, in some cases, in some movements, they resist change. That we don't want change. For examples like tribal peoples, they don't want change in their life. They are happy with their lives. Suppose, for example, we are saying about development. Okay, but they don't want development. They are happy with their life because they are close to their nature. Okay, so they don't want bring in their cultural traditions. For example, like ethnicity, we will discuss in the last unit that ethnicity. By ethnic means what? The primitive culture. So they are always trying to preserve their culture. Okay, so they don't want change. It means what? That they resist. So they started a movement to resist for what? Not to preserve their culture, to preserve their tradition, to preserve their age-old practices. ତ ସେମାନେ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ଚାହାନ୍ତିନି। ଓକେ, ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସେ for resisting change, they started movement. But in other cases, for example, in women movement, so they trying to bring change in the life of women. So for that reason, it means what? That they are the pro changes. So they started movement to bring change in their life, not to resist. Similarly, Dalit movements, first unit. In Dalit movement also same thing. They trying to change their life, not to resist. So in some movements, both resistance is there and movement started for the change also. So movement and change are related. Both are interrelated. So with that, we will start with Dalit movement. Okay. So in Dalit movement, we'll discuss about who are the Dalits, then historical background of Dalits. So this how this Dalit movement started, what are the historical background of the Dalit movement, then social practices and untouchability. In that we'll discuss about what is untouchability and how it started. Then Brahmanic Hinduism. Okay. So this Dalit movement is against means non-Brahmins or Brahmins. Okay. So because of their dominance, there they started this movement. And last is alternative religious movements. So in Dalit movement also there are some alternative religious movements which are the solutions of this exploitation or suppressions. Then we'll discuss about Dalit leaders and different phases of movement. Okay. So there are many leaders are there who started this movement or they they means they what they means instinct the people they're trying to solve their problems. So there are many means Dalit leaders are there. For examples like Jyotiba Phule, B.R. Ambedkar, Periyar. So in this way there are various other like SNDP. So in this way various leaders are there and in different phases because movement is such a thing. This is not like for 1 year, 2 year. For the rights, okay, the rights by paying, it will take many times. Definitely, sorry, Vera. So until unless the demands are not fulfilled, the rights are not fulfilled, going on. So it is a continuous process. So ଆମେ ଯଦି movement ର nature ଦେଖିବା, if nature of the movement, then what? The movement is universal in everywhere, every part of the world, in every part of the India, movements are there. So it is universal in nature. Second thing, movements are continuous in nature. Okay. So maybe there is a period when it stops, but again started. ଗୋଟେ period ଆସିବ ଯୋଉ movement ଟା start ହେଇଥିବ କିଛି ସମୟ ପାଇଁ ଏଟା stop ହେଇଯିବ then again ସେଟା start ହବ. So in this way what? In this way the movement is continuously. Another thing is what? ନା movements bring or resist change. ଯୋଉଟା already ଆଗରୁ କହିଦେଇଛି. So ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ nature. And another thing is what nature? ନା movement may bring peace or violence in the society. ଏଟା both. ଗୋଟେ movement ଗୋଟେ rights ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଯୋଉ movements ହୁଏ ସେଟା peace ବି ଆଣିପାରେ ବା violence ବି ଆଣିପାରେ society. It means maybe it may create disturbances also in the society. So with that we'll discuss about the Dalit movements. So first we will start with Dalit. So who are the Dalit? So Dalit means what? Na the lower section of the society, the member of the lower caste. Okay, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ Dalit କହୁଛେ. Dalit means what? If Dalit କୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ I mean in English ରେ କହିବା, Dalit means what? Na Dalit means exploited. Okay, exploitation. So they are exploited caste. They are exploited by the higher caste peoples. For that reason, to stop that exploitation, they started the movement. So Dalit जो word टा Dalit ର ଆହୁରି various ନାଁ ଅଛି ସବୁ. ଆମେ Dalit in Indian context different parts ରେ different ନାଁରେ Dalit କୁହାଯାଏ. Some parts ରେ କୁହାଯାଏ Harijans. Okay, this Harijan concept is given by Mahatma Gandhi. Harijan means what? The children of God. Okay. So instead of Dalit କହିବା ଅପେକ୍ଷା Dalit କହିଲେ it's an insult. But Harijan means what? Now they are the children of God. So it means it's bring some happiness among the that lower caste. Okay. ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି B.R. ଆମ୍ବେଦକର କଣ କହିଥିଲେ ନା B.R. ଆମ୍ବେଦକର କହିଥିଲେ ବହିଷ୍କୃତ. Okay. Bahishkrit means what? Why B.R. Ambedkar word use this term Bahishkrit? Bahishkrit means they are Bahishkrit means what? Bahar karo rajo. The Bahishkrit means they are Bahishkrit from the society, from the community, from the higher caste. So they are Bahishkrit and they are denied from the services जोड़ा other caste पाउचंदी तादर समाने exploited होचंदी. They are deprived from their rights. First thing is Dalit means they are exploited and they are deprived. Deprive means what ना जोड़ा तांका rights. Okay, जोड़ा तांका निज rights से rights से तांका पाई परंतु they are deprived. Okay, they have the quality, they have the talents, but still they are deprived. So same thing. ताको कहला Dalit. Okay. So Dalit तापरे आउरी गोटे concept अछि untouchability सेटा हम discussion करिबा. So एटा simple terms Dalit means what? Na member of the lower caste in the society. So known as Dalit. Now we'll discuss about the historical background of Dalit. That how this means Dalit term by untouchability start କେମିତି ହେଇଥିଲା କୋଉଠୁ ଏଟା emerge ହେଇଥିଲା ଏଇ concept ଟା. So ଏଇଟାକୁ ଆମେ discussion କରିବାକୁ ହେଲେ we have go back to history. Okay. So history means what? ଏ Dalit concept କୋଉଠୁ ଆସିଲା? Caste system ଆସିଲା ବୋଲି ହିଁ Dalit ଆସିଲା. କାହିଁକିନା Dalit is a part of caste system. ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛେ Dalit caste, it means it is a part of Dalit caste. It means a part of caste system. ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ପଡିବ caste system ରେ Dalit ଟା କେମିତି ଆସିଲା. ତ caste system କୁ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ହେଲେ ଆମକୁ caste ର origin କୁ ଯିବାକୁ ପଡିବ, ତା back କୁ ଯିବାକୁ ପଡିବ. ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ତ ଆମେ ଏଇଟା କହୁଛେ historical background. ତ back କୁ ଯିବାକୁ ଆମକୁ study କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ. ତ caste system start ହେଇଥିଲା ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା. ମୁଁ already କିଛି କିଛି class ରେ କହିଥିଲି ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ caste ବିଷୟରେ. ତ ଆଉ ଥରେ କହୁଛି ଯେ ଏଇଟା included କାହିଁକିନା historical background of Dalit ଜାଣିବାକୁ ହେଲେ ଆମକୁ ତାର history ଜାଣିବାକୁ ପଡିବ. ତ first start ହେଇଥିଲା in society. ଯେତେବେଳେ society start ହେଲା, okay, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମ yearly Indian society ବା ଆମର ଯୋଉ pre Indian society ଯେତେବେଳେ start ହେଇଥିଲା, ତ ସେତେବେଳେ first ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା start ହେଇଥିଲା. ଆଗରୁ ମୁଁ କହିଛି societies are classless society. So Indian society ବି ସେମିତି ମାନେ it's maybe traditional but ଏତେ rigid ନଥିଲା, ବହୁତ flexible ଥିଲା, ବେଶୀ inequality ବା differences ନଥିଲା. ତ ସେତେବେଳେ କଣ ନା on the basis of occupation, okay, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମର କଣ start ହେଇଥିଲା ନା ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା start ହେଇଥିଲା. So what is ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା? So ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା caste ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥାରେ ବହୁତ ସାରା difference ନାହିଁ, କିଛି difference ଅଛି. But difference ଏତିକି କଣ ନା ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ଯୋଉ start ହେଇଥିଲା, ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ କଣ divine origin type ର ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଆସିଥିଲା. Divine origin means what? ନା ଏଇଟା ମଣିଷ କ୍ରିଏଟ କରିନାହାନ୍ତି, ଏଇଟା ଅଟୋମେଟିକ ସୋସାଇଟିରେ ସେମିତି ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇ ଯାଇଥିଲା. ତ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ମିନ୍ସ ହ୍ୱାଟ? ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ମିନ୍ସ କଲର. ଓକେ. ତ on the basis of color, on the basis of occupation, a person occupies status in the society or occupy a particular status in a particular caste. ତ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ means color. ତ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ରହିଲା. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଯୋଉ divine origin ଅଛି, ଯୋଉ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣର origin ହେଲା, ସେଇଟା କଣ ନା in Manusmriti. Okay. So we have Vedas, Puranas, many. So similarly, Manusmriti is one Smriti, Manusmriti. So according to Manusmriti, that different Varna people, they originated from different part of the body of the a Purusha Shakta, or maybe you can say it's a god. Okay, means invisible god. So say to originate the Varna. तो ସେଇଟା ମନୁସ୍ମୃତିରେ କେମିତି explain ହେଇଛି ନା different part ରୁ ଯୋଉ I mean persons born ହେଲେ ବା caste born ହେଲା ତ ତାଙ୍କ color ବି ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ଥିଲା. ଯେମିତି for example those who are born out from the mouth, ଯୋଉମାନେ ପାଟିରୁ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ ତ ସେମାନେ ହେଲେ Brahmins. Okay. So they occupy high status in the society because they are very uh, when according to Manusmriti, their occupation is very pure. Okay, teaching, learning how, learning Vedas, then preaching, worshipping. So all the occupations that is become pure. Okay. So because they are chanting mantras, okay, reading Vedas. So for that reason they are born from the mouth. So ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଆମେ ଯଦି ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା କଲେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଗଲା ଯେ highest caste, highest occupation, pure occupation. ଯେମିତି ଆମର caste system ରହିଛି purity and pollution. So this higher caste of Brahmins, they are pure according to Smriti, Manusmriti. Another thing is what? Now those who are born from the mouth, ଯୋଉମାନେ mouth ରୁ ଜନ୍ମ ନେଲେ, ସେମାନେ କଣ ହେଲା? ନା their color become white according to Manusmriti. Their color is white. যেহেতୁ ଆମେ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା କହୁଛେ, so their color is white. Next is Kshatriyas. Brahmin, then Kshatriyas. So Kshatriyas, they are born from the soldier. Okay, soldier ରୁ ସେମାନେ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ. So soldier is the symbol of masculinity, symbol of power. Okay. ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ନା କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ମାନେ ସୋଲଜର ରୁ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ for what is their occupation? Their occupation is war, fighting and protecting. That is their main occupation. So muscles power. And according to Manusmriti, what is their color? Na they're red. Why red? Na because they are very angry. Okay. So for that reason their color is red. Next is what? Next is Vaishyas. So Vaishyas are born from the thigh of the well, means Purusha, but God. So what is their main occupation? Na trade, business, commerce. Okay, means to feed others. So ଜଣେ ରହିଲେ Brahmins ରହିଲେ ସେମାନେ learning, teaching, I mean to provide knowledge. ଆଉ ଜଣେ ରହିଲେ protecting. ଆଉ ବୈଶ୍ୟ ଆସିଲେ ସିଏ providing food to all the member of the society. And their color is yellow. Last one is last those who are the lower caste like Sudras. So Sudras are born from the feet of the Purusha Sikta. So because of the fruit, so they provide service to the all above three caste. Okay. So that is their duty. So it is a service to the other caste, and their color is black. So that is according to Manusmriti, but that is not true. It is means in this modern world, modern society, we will not believe. Kind of ସେମିତି ନୁହଁ ଯେ only Brahmins are white, Sudras are black. That is not like. Okay, it is only mentioned in the scriptures. Okay, it is ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କହିଲେ it's a mythological or divine origin type. So because of these color differences, because of these occupations, okay, so there is purity and pollution. Okay, means upper caste means highest caste is pure, then little bit low pure. So in this is pure and pollution. Why pollution? Because those who are providing service to the other, okay. So because of the providing service to the other and they using some impure works, okay. For that reason, they come under the pollutant caste, pollutant burner. So this is the explanation Manusmriti. So this burner system based on what? Na based on color, based on occupation. So this society is stratified and divided into like this. But how this caste system and Varna Dalit problem arises? I, I earlier told, ଆଜି ବି ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଯେ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ନଥିଲା, simple ଥିଲା. ଆଉ one more thing, in ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା there is what? Na there is mobility is possible. ଏମିତି ନୁହଁ ଯେ fixed. କାହିଁକି? ନା ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ lower caste, maybe ଗୋଟେ ଶୂଦ୍ର ବି ଯଦି he learn Vedas, okay, then maintain purity, then he will raise his status. So ତା status କୁ raise କରିପାରିବ. It's possible. ଗୋଟେ ଶୂଦ୍ର ବି ଚାହିଁବ ଯଦି muscles power ଦ୍ୱାରା ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ବି ହେଇପାରିବ. ଯଦି knowledge ଦ୍ୱାରା ସେ ଚାହିଁବ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ବି ହେଇପାରିବ. ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ସେ ଯଦି ତାର purity କି maintain ନ କଲା, ତା duty କି ଯଦି ଠିକ ସେ perform ନ କଲା, then ତାର downward mobility ହବ. ସେ may be ବୈଶ୍ୟ ବି ହେଇପାରେ, मे बी शूद्र भी ହେଇପାରେ। So there is caste is in Varna is not fixed. So always there is a upward downward mobility on the basis of achievement, on the basis of ability. ତ ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ହିଁ ସେଇଠି ମୋବିଲିଟି ହେଇଥାଏ। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଯେହେତୁ ଏଇ ମୋବିଲିଟି, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଫ୍ଲେକ୍ସିବିଲିଟି, ଏଇ ଓପନନେସ୍ ପାଇଁ ସେତେବେଳେ କଣ ନା ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥାରେ ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସିଟି ନଥିଲା, ବା ଛୁଆଁ ଅଛୁଆଁ, ଅଛୁତ, ଅନଟଚେବିଲିଟି, ଦଲିତ କନସେପ୍ଟ କିଛି ନଥିଲା, କାହିଁକିନା କାଷ୍ଟ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ କରୁଥିଲା। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଏଇ ଫୋର ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ହିଁ ଥିଲା, ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ, କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ, ବୈଶ୍ୟ, ଶୂଦ୍ର। And there are no other restrictions like we discuss in caste system. There are many restrictions are there. First thing, it is hierarchically divided. Okay, top to bottom. It will be hierarchically divided, but one thing is that in Varna, so there is movement is possible. Another thing is what now in Varna Vyavastha, there is no restriction on social intercourse, social relationship, commensality. ମାନେ caste system ରେ ଯେମିତି ବହୁତ strict, there is no interaction with other caste or lower caste. ତ ସେଇଠି restriction on relationship ଥିଲା, but in ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ସେଇଠି restriction ନଥିଲା, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ଏତେ rigid ନଥିଲା। ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଣ ନା there is no restrictions on intercaste marriage, ତ ସେଇଠି intercaste marriage ବି possible ଥିଲା। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ because of this flexibility, okay, so there is no concept of dalit or untouchability. But when society slowly passes, so then when society becomes rigid, so then this caste system emerged. So early Vedic ରେ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆସିଲା, later Vedic age ରେ caste system ଆସିଲା। ତ society ଯେତେ complex ହେଲା, ଆମ practices, beliefs ସେତେ complex ହେଇଗଲା, ଆଉ ଆମ human ଭିତରେ ସେତିକି distance ବଢି ବଢିଗଲା। ତ ସେଇଠୁ ହେଲା କଣ ଏ ଯୋଉ because of this gap between caste, ତ ସେଇ ଗ୍ୟାପ୍ ଟା ବଢି ବଢି ଗଲା, ଆଉ କଣ ନା ଗୋଟେ ରିଜିଡ୍ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆସିଗଲା। ଦେନ୍ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆଉ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭିତରେ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ତ ବୁଝିପାରୁଥିବେ। ବର୍ଣ୍ଣରେ ସେମିତି ଫ୍ଲେକ୍ସିବିଲିଟି ଥିବାରୁ ସେଇଠି ସେମିତି ଦଲିତ କନସେପ୍ଟ ନଥିଲା, ଅନଟଚେବିଲିଟି କନସେପ୍ଟ ନଥିଲା। ଯେହେତୁ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମଟା ଏତେ ରିଜିଡ୍ ହେଇଗଲା, ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ହେଇଗଲା, ଇନ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଟାଇମ୍ କଣ ନା those who are dominant caste, those who are dominated, so they always trying to preserve their caste. Okay, so preserve ମାନେ କଣ, to preserve their own status, ତାମାନେ ସେମିତି କିଛି କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ଯାହା ଦ୍ୱାରା କି ଲୋ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ କାଷ୍ଟ ବି ସେ ଉପରକୁ ଆଉ ଉଠି ପାରିବନି। ଓକେ, ସେଇଠି ହିଁ ରହିବ। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ହେଲା ସୋସାଇଟି, ସୋ ବେଦସ୍, ପୁରାଣସ୍, ସୋ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ସବୁ ସ୍କ୍ରିପଚର୍ସ ଲେଖା ହେଲା according to the suitability of a particular caste. So in this way ଯେତେବେଳେ ସୋସାଇଟି କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ହେଇଗଲା, ସେଇଠି କଣ ହେଲା ନା ଆଉ ସବୁ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଆସିଗଲା ଅନଟଚେବିଲିଟି। ଅନଟଚେବିଲିଟି ନଥିଲା ଆଗରୁ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣରେ, ବଟ୍ ଯେତେବେଳେ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆସିଗଲା ଅନଟଚେବିଲିଟି ବା ଦଲିତ ଆସିଗଲା। କାହିଁକି ନା the above four caste, even if Sudras, okay, caste the untouchables are those who are extremely lower caste in the hierarchy. So untouchability means अछूत जाओ कानून। In caste system रे at least there is some interaction between four castes, but in untouchability means they are totally neglected by or exploited, deprived by the caste system. तो ସେଇଠୁ untouchability ଆସିଲା, ସେଇଠୁ ଏ ଦलित concept ଆସିଲା। ଆଉ society ଯେତେ complex ହେଇଗଲା, ये untouchability दलित ସେତେ ବଢି ବଢି ଗଲା। So they become outcast. Okay, so they don't come under the caste system or caste structure. So slowly ସେମାନେ society ରୁ ବା ସମାଜରୁ ଦୂରେ ଦୂରେ ହେଇଗଲେ, untouchable ହେଇଗଲେ। ତାପରେ ଯାଇକି concept ଆସିଲା ଦलिତର। Okay, so dalit concept, this concept is used by the Britishers. Okay, so dalit concept ନଥିଲା, untouchability ଥିଲା। तो society ରେ untouchability concept ଟାକୁ use କରାହଉଥିଲା। But when Britishers came, they use this term dalit, means they are exploited group of people or exploited caste. तो ସେଇଠୁ ଆସିଥିଲା। ତ ଏଇଟା ଥିଲା emergence of जो दलित concept ଟା, ଏଇଟା ସେଇଠୁ ହିଁ emerge ହେଇଥିଲା। Okay, how dalit concept emerged. How this untouchability हो, but how the exploitation. Always remember, Dalit means exploited and deprived. तो ସେମାନେ deprived caste ଥିଲେ ଆଉ exploited caste ଥିଲେ. They are exploited by the upper caste and deprived from the facilities or services of the society. ତାପରେ ଏଇଟା ତ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିଦେଲେ ତାପରେ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ଅଫ ଅଣ୍ଟଚେବିଲିଟି ଏକ୍ସଟ୍ରିମ ଫର୍ମ ହେଲା ଓକେ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଆଉଟକାଷ୍ଟ ଥିଲେ ବଟ୍ it's become extremely followed in the society okay ତାପରେ next ହଉଛି କଣ the next ହଉଛି we'll discuss about brahminic hinduism okay so in ମନୁସ୍ମୃତିରେ ତ brahminic dominance କୁ ବହୁତ importance ଦିଆଯାଇଥିଲା ନା ଯେହେତୁ brahmins occupy the higher caste okay higher status in the society so they always trying to preserve their status okay ତ ସବୁବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କ status ଟାକୁ preserve କରିକି ରଖିବାକୁ ଚାହାନ୍ତି ଡୋମିନାନ୍ସ କରିବାକୁ ରଖିବାକୁ ଚାହାନ୍ତି ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସେ କଣ କଲେ ଯେହେତୁ ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜମରେ ବି ଆମର ଏଇ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଅଛି ତ ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜମ କୁ ଯୋଉ ଆମ ରିଲିଜନ କୁ ବିକମ୍ ରିଜିଡ୍ ହେଇଗଲା ତ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ରିଜିଡିଟି ଅଫ ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜମ ହେଇଗଲା ସେଥିରେ କଣ ହେଲା ନା ଦ ଦଲିତ and the untouchables they are not able to cope with these new practices new systems new beliefs କାହିଁକିନା ଏମିତି ରିଜିଡ୍ କରାଗଲା ଯେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ସେମାନେ ମେନ୍ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିମ୍ କୁ ଆସିପାରିବ ନାହିଁ for example restriction social relationship keeping distance they are not allowed to reading vedas okay they are not allowed to enter into the temple they are not allowed to use the public ways okay or civic facilities so society ଏମିତି rigid ହେଇଗଲା ଯେ ସେମାନେ ଆଉ ଅପଲିଫ୍ଟ କରିପାରିଲେ ନାହିଁ okay because Dalit they have no voice no choice okay ତାଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ choice ବି ନାହିଁ voice ନାହିଁ why ନା because ସେମାନେ old age tradition ରୁ face କରି କରି ଆସିଛନ୍ତି so for that reason so they have no voice no choice okay ତ ସେମାନେ voice raise କରିପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି because of the dominance of other upper castes so particularly brahminic caste ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛେ so brahmin dominance ପାଇଁ କଣ ନା ଏମାନେ uplift ହେଇପାରିଲେ ନାହିଁ not only brahmins non brahmins also those who are dominant caste those who are economically socially politically powerful so they dominate over this dalits so ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି ଆଜି ଟିକେ ଆଡ୍ କରିବି ଯେମିତି ଆମର ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଲା କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଗଲ ବି ସେମିତି କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଗଲ ବି ସେମିତି କଣ ନା ଯୋଉ ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରିଆଲ ସୋସାଇଟି କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଗଲ ବି ସେମାନେ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୋଟେଡ ହଉଥିଲେ deprived ହଉଥିଲେ but finally they raised their voice similarly also why this dalit movement started what is the background of this movement and because of the exploitation and deprivation when the limit cross ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ exploitation ର ବା deprivation ର ଗୋଟେ limit cross କରେ okay means patience ନଥାଏ ତ ସେତେବେଳେ ହିଁ ଗୋଟେ ଅପରେସନ ଆସେ ବା ଗୋଟେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହୁଏ ତ ଏଇଟା ଥିଲା ଆର ହିଷ୍ଟୋରିକାଲ ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ତ ଏଇଟା ତ ଦଲିତ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଆ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆଉ ଅଲ୍ଟରନେଟିଭ ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟସ୍ କଣ କଣ ଥିଲା ସବୁ ତ ସେଇ ସମୟରେ in time of britishers okay the dalit already in that time they are exploited so for other solutions other alternative religious movements okay to solve their problem religious movement for like bhakti cult bhakti movement as ଯେମିତି ଆମର religious movement ହଉଛି okay ସେ religious movement ରେ bhakti movement ଗୋଟେ ଥିଲା ସେ ଭକ୍ତି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ରେ କଣ ନା ଏଭରିବଡି ଆର୍ ଇକ୍ୱାଲ ବିଫୋର ଦ ଗଡ୍ ତ ମେନ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗ ଇଜ ଭକ୍ତି ସେ ଚାहे ଦଲିତ ହଉ ମେ ବି ଦଲିତ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ଆଲାଉଡ୍ ଟୁ ଏଣ୍ଟର ଇନ୍ ଦ ଟେମ୍ପଲ ନଟ୍ ରିଡିଂ ବେଦସ୍ ବଟ୍ bhakti for bhakti means for devotion for devotion no need to enter into the temple no need to read vedas that is not required okay so through bhakti we can achieve anything else so no need to worry about this exploitation suppressions okay maybe in the caste structure maybe dalit lower ହେଇପାରନ୍ତି but but in front of god କ ପାଇଁ ସେ ସମାନ ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଯୋଉ ଭକ୍ତି କଲ୍ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଲା ତ ଏଇଟା ବି ଗୋଟେ ଦଲିତ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ର ଗୋଟେ ପାର୍ଟ ଥିଲା ଓକେ ମୁଁ କେମିତି ଆହୁରି ଇଜିଲି ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦଉଛି କାରଣ ମୁଁ ସବୁବେଳେ ଥିଓରିଟାକୁ ଟିକେ ଆଜ ସବୁବେଳେ ଆମକୁ ଆଡ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ବିକଜ ଥିଓରିଟା ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି କହିଲି କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଗଲ ଯେମିତି ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୋଟେସନ ହେଲା ସେମାନେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲେ ତ ସେମିତି ଯେମିତି yesterday ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିଥିଲେ ରିଲିଜିଅନରେ ମାର୍କ୍ସଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଗୋଟେ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଥିଲା ଯେ opium of the masses, religion is the opium of masses, and this is the alternative solution for survival. Okay, people man. Similarly, so because of this exploitation, because of this deprivation, so Dalit are totally means they are alienated from the society. Okay, so they are deprived from the society and they are harassed. And what is the only solution? Na bhakti, devotion. So through devotion means at least जो तांकर जो pain टा अच्छी, okay, but जो दुखटा अच्छी, ସେଇଟା at least solve is through this bhakti. So it is an alternative movement. Okay, this is not the part of this Dalit movement. This bhakti movement. Not it's about Hinduism, or not about bhakti movement started by Brahmins or higher caste. So it is a common movement. It's a common movement started, but it influenced the life of the Dalits. Okay, so Dalits are inspired by these movements. So this is one thing. Other religious movements which are helpful to uplift the or to change or bring change in the society or uh, to resist the dominance of Brahmins. So in that period, okay, I'm a history room here. I'm ancient history. I'm discussion करले how this concept of untouchability started. So now we'll come to another part. Okay, that is 6th century BC. Okay, so in 6th century BC, uh, some major religions are started. Why? Because India is a Hindu country, Hinduism is dominated, Brahmanism is dominated. But why other religion started in India in 6th century BC? And two religions, one is Buddhism, another is Jainism. So these are some alternative reform movements like Bhakti movement. So these are some of the alternative movements for this upliftment of Dalit. Maybe it is not directly it is a part of this Dalit movement, but it's influence. How? Now, when the Brahminic dominance increase in the society, when this Vedic culture or dominance of Brahmins increase in the society, and another thing is that this in Brahminic culture or in that society, the rituals are very rigid, very complex. A common man is not able to means perform that rituals. जो ceremonies हो rituals हो ଗୋଟେ common man ସେଟାକୁ practice କରିପାରିବନି. Okay, so a common man don't know how to read Sanskrit. ତ Sanskrit ସେ କହିପାରିବନି. ତ Sanskrit କହିପାରିବ ଯେ ସେ ବେଦ ବି ପଢିପାରିବନି. Okay, and I don't know about what is scripture, what is Vedas. ତ ritual ଟା ଏତେ rigid ଥିଲା ଆଉ ritual ଟା ଏତେ rigid ଥିଲା ଯେ only the Brahmins ହିଁ only ସେ ritual ଟା କରିପାରିବେ. ତ ଏଇ ଟାଇପର rigid ଥିଲା. ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ because of this ritual status, because of pure ritual status, the Brahmins are occupy the higher status in the society. So because of the dominance of Brahmins, okay, because of this deprivation of the lower caste people, this Buddhism started. So Buddhism started not to means it is not an alternative of means Hinduism. So it is just a means to bring reform in the Hinduism. Okay, to reform in the rigidity and practices of this Hinduism. तो हिंदुइज्म जो एते रिजिड प्रैक्टिस थिला माने पूजा पद्धति हो प्रैक्टिसेस हो एते रिजिड थिला जे गोटे कॉमन मैन कर पारनथिला तो सेट में बुद्धिज्म जेतरा आसिला जैनिज्म जेतरा आसिला तांकर जो प्रैक्टिसेस थिला रिचुअल्स थिला एते रिजिड नथिला इट इज सिंपली बिलीव ऑन फेथ ओके तो आमी जदी कहबा बुद्धिज्म जेतले बुद्ध प्रीस आर्य अष्टांग मार्ग ओके आर्य अष्टांग मार्ग मीन्स टू गेट मोक्ष अल्टीमेट एम ऑफ लाइफ इज गेटिंग मोक्ष तो ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ନା ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମ୍ କଲେ ତମକୁ ମାନେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ପୂଜା ପଦ୍ଧତି କରିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ମାନେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ରିଚୁଆଲ କରିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ କିଛି ନାହିଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଓନଲି କିପ୍ ଫେଥ୍ ଅନ୍ ଦ ଗଡ୍ and follow this path means for examples like good karma good behavior just like that you may be a lower caste you may be a dalit or a higher caste that doesn't matter So because of these simple practices, simple beliefs, people are attracted towards Buddhism. Okay. So जो ब्राह्मणिक डोमिनेंस थिला से पीरियड रे से धीरे धीरे लूज होला. ओके. सो जो दलित माने एक्सप्लॉइटेड होउथिले तो तांको ଗୋଟେ होप मिलिला. तो ସେମାନେ ଭାବିଲେ ଯେ ହଁ ultimate aim is moksha salvation. So no need to worry about this exploitation deprivation. So Buddhism, similarly Jainism also, Jainism रे भी same जिनस mention ହେଇଛି. Both are similar, a little bit different. Okay, because Jainism is little bit what not rigid, but it's like what practice କରିହବ but ଏଇଟା Buddhism ଠୁ ଟିକେ ଆହୁରି ଟିକେ complex ଥିଲା. But Buddhism is very simple. So Buddhism, Jainism ସହିତ ଦଳିତ movement ରେ କଣ link ଅଛି? କାହିଁକି ନା ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କ upliftment ପାଇଁ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ hope ଥିଲା ଏଇଟା. ତ ସେଇଟା ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ପଢିବା ମୁଁ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବି ଯେ ହାଉ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ଲିଡର୍ସ ଦେ କନଭର୍ଟେଡ from Hinduism to other religions. Okay. Because of this, because Buddhism, Jainism are not very strict, very simple in nature. ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଫଲୋ କରୁଥିଲେ ତ ସେଇଠୁ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ I mean hope ଦେଲା. So this is about what? Now this is about what is Dalit, then social background of the social historical background of Dalit, how this movement started, then what are the alternative, how this Brahminic dominance is very rigid and it's ମାନେ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କ ଅପଲିଫ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ପାଇଁ ଏଇଟା କେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କ୍ରିଏଟ କରୁଥିଲା and then we discuss about the alternative religious movement जोटा indirectly not directly but indirectly बहुत help कला कि दलित upliftment ପାଇଁ ଯେମିତି कि भक्ति cult हो by Buddhism हो by Jainism. Okay. So these are related to the introduction part, okay, or its introduction historical part. Now we come to the main part, that is various Dalit movements, okay, in different phases, or various Dalit leaders who started the movement in different phases. So now we'll discuss one by one. So who are the main Dalit leaders? There are many leaders are there, but main Dalit leaders are Jyotiba Phule, B.R. Ambedkar, Periyar, then Dalit Panther movement, or we can say Bahu Samaj party हमें जो अच्छे बतौन यूपी रे, okay, BSP by Bahu Samaj or other movements. So we'll start with Jyotiba Phule. Okay, so Jyotiba Phule started a movement for the upliftment of Dalits. So Jyotiba Phule was a OBC. से जने OBC ଥିଲେ माली, okay, gardener. So he realized the problem of the Dalits. He belongs to backward caste, but he realized the problems of Dalit and how they are exploited by the upper caste, non-Brahmins and Brahmins. So to solve their problem, Jyotiba Phule started a Samaj known as Satya Sodhak Samaj in 1875. Satya Sodhak Samaj. So through this Samaj, okay, through this Samaj, Jyotiba Phule trying to solve the problem of Dalit. How? The first problem of Dalit is what? The first problem of Dalit is education. They are not educated because they are deprived from education. So education is the first means instrument, okay, to solve the problem of Dalits. Okay. So education means what? Na education of Dalits. Then they started movement against the non-Brahmins, okay, upper caste movements. Also, he started a movement for what? Now he started a movement for the upliftment of status of women in the society. Okay, Dalit women. Then he started movement. He fought for women to go into the temple. He doing many things through this Satyasodak Samaj. Through this Satyasodak Samaj, he trying to solve the problem of Dalit, and he also fight against the non-Brahmins. Okay, so this is the movement of Jyotiba Phule. Then next come to the B.R. Ambedkar. Okay. we all know is the father of constitution, B.R. Ambedkar. So B.R. Ambedkar play an important and direct role in the upliftment of Dalit or untouchables. So B.R. Ambedkar know that education is one of the instruments to solve the problem. So for that reason, B.R. Ambedkar higher educated hele. Okay. Then he started movement for the upliftment of Dalit. So firstly he started means without leadership. Okay. Or directly he started କରୁନଥିଲେ but he's worry about the Dalits. Okay, ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ B.R. ଆମ୍ବେଦକର ଦଳିତକୁ କହିଥିଲେ ବହିଷ୍କୃତ. Okay, ସେମାନେ ବହିଷ୍କୃତ ଦଳିତ କାଷ୍ଟ ବା untouchable caste ସେମାନେ ବହିଷ୍କୃତ from the society. So B.R. Ambedkar started a movement. Okay, so we'll start with different parts. So first, this Dalit movement started in Maharashtra, a caste, Mahar caste, Mahar, Mahar caste. So B.R. Ambedkar also belongs to that same caste, Mahar caste. Okay, it is a very low caste. Okay, untouchable caste. Mean doing some small works. Okay, cleaning, cleaning ho, but ଯେତିକି ସବୁ I mean not dirty words, but ଯୋଉଟା I mean ଯୋଉଟା society ରେ ମାନେ low profile work କୁହାଯାଏ ତ ସେଟା Mahar community କରୁଛି. So Mahar communities are exploited by the higher caste people. Okay, exploited by the Brahmins, exploited by the non-Brahmins, okay, or by the Kshatriyas. So they are exploited and they are deprived from the basic services. Okay, ଯୋଉଟା ଗୋଟେ survival ପାଇଁ ଯେତିକି basic services ସେଇଟା ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦିଆଯାଉନଥିଲା. So ସେମାନେ they are staying outside the village. Okay, village ବାହାରେ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ରଖାଯାଉଥିଲା. Okay, so ସେଇଠି distance ବି maintain କରାଯାଉଥିଲା. ତାଙ୍କୁ village ରେ entry କରିବାକୁ ଦିଆଯାଉନଥିଲା. Okay. So ଯେତେବେଳେ କିଛି I mean କିଛି ଡାଟି କାମ ପଡେ ସେତେବେଳେ ହିଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଡକା ହଉଥିଲା. So in this way their life is like a miserable life. ମାହାର ମାନଙ୍କର ଥିଲା. So when Ambedkar realized the problem of this Mahar caste or Mahar community, Mahar Dalit untouchable caste, he started a movement, Mahar movement. Means backed by not exactly with B.R. Ambedkar means other leaders are also there. So the Mahar movement started. So Mahar movement कौन ना it is first thing is what ना it is a fight for the rights तांको rights ପାଇଁ तांको जो rights ଅଛି village रे जो public well हो ବା temple हो तो सेटा तांको rights तो से first thing होची तांको rights ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ एटा movement ହେଇଥିଲା ଆଉ second thing कौन important thing एटा conversion movement भी थिला Mahar movement टा केमिति the first right conversion माने कौन एटा होची mass conversion of this Mahar community from Hinduism to Buddhism. Okay. We all know that B.R. Ambedkar is a Hindu, but he converted to Buddhism because of this rigidity, complexity of the society. Okay, because of this Brahmin dominance, but dominance of the higher caste, say religion change कर देती है. So all the Mahar people, Mahar community, Dalit people, they follow this method, same method. So they first they converted. Okay, first they when they know that it is not possible to ତାଙ୍କ rights ଟା ପାଇବା ଏତେ ଇଜି ନୁହଁ ଗୋଟେ କାଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚର ଭିତରେ ରହିକି that too ମାନେ ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜମ ରେ ରହିକି ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜମ ରେ ରହିକି କାଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚର କୁ ଡେଭିଏଟ କରିକି ଅପର କାଷ୍ଟ କୁ ଯିବା ଏତେ ଇଜି ନୁହଁ ବିକଜ ଇଟ ଇଜ କ୍ଲୋଜ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆଉ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣିକାଲ ଡୋମିନାନ୍ସ ବହୁତ ଥିଲା ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ପସିବଲ ନୁହଁ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ରେ ରହିକି ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିବାକୁ ମୁଁ ଆଗରୁ ଗୋଟେ କନସେପ୍ଟ କହିଥିଲି କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ରେ ଯେ change in caste system means there is possibility of change in caste system through sanskritization the concept with sanskritization ମାନେ କଣ ନା lower caste people okay when they imitate the other caste and become higher caste the possibility ଅଛି okay but lower caste ହେଇପାରିବ suppose ଧର ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଧର ଶୂଦ୍ର ହଉ କି ବୈଶ୍ୟ ହଉ ସେମାନେ imitate କରି ଗୋଟେ ଶୂଦ୍ର ବୈଶ୍ୟ ହେଇପାରିବ ଗୋଟେ ବୈଶ୍ୟ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ହେଇପାରିବ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ହେଇପାରିବ that is possible but those who are untouchables those who are dalit there is no question no possibility of change of caste or status the first they fought for their rights ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କ ରାଇଟ୍ସ ପାଇଁ ଲଢ଼େଇ କଲେ, ବଟ୍ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଟ୍ ଇସ୍ ନଟ୍ ପସିବଲ୍ ଏ କାଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚରରେ ବା ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜିମରେ ରହିକି ଦଲିତ ରାଇଟ୍ ବା ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ସିଭିକ ରାଇଟଟା ସେମାନେ ପାଇପାରିବେନି, ତ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ କଣ କଲେ, ସମସ୍ତେ total community converted to Buddhism. So now they are not come under this Hinduism or casteism. So obviously ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମାନେ ଅଲଗା ରିଲିଜନ କୁ ଗଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ସୋସିଆଲ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ହଉ ଓକେ ବା ତାଙ୍କର ଡିଗ୍ନିଟି ହଉ ସେଟା ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ ହେଇକି ରହିଲା। So in this way what ନା this movement is successful କହିବାକୁ ଗଲେ ଗୋଟେ କେସରେ, କାହିଁକିନା ଏଠି କିଛି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ଆସିଲା ଲାଇଫରେ। ଓକେ ମାନେ ଏଇଟା ରିଫର୍ମ ଆସୁ କିନ୍ତୁ ବଟ୍ ଦେयर ଇଜ ଚେଞ୍ଜ, ଯେମିତି କହିଲି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଆଉ ଚେଞ୍ଜରେ କିଛି ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ନାହିଁ। ଓକେ ବୋଥ୍ ଆର୍ ଇଣ୍ଟର ରିଲେଟେଡ୍। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ବିକଜ ଅଫ୍ ଦିସ୍ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ so there is change in their life, there change in their lifestyle, their standard of living is possible only through this movement. So this is about B.R. Ambedkar movement. B.R. Ambedkar also started many movements for Dalit. He both political party because Republican Party and many things also because of B.R. Ambedkar in Constitution. He mentioned many things for the protection of this Dalit. Okay, Dalit right को मैं fights କରିଥିଲେ. Okay, तो करी Constitution में mention करती for example reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. ସେଇଟା ବି mention ହେଲା. So in this way both through movement and through provision of Constitution कौन ହେଲା ना दलित ମାନଙ୍କର upliftment ହେଲା. So means little bit movement is successful. Next come to Periyar and the mass movement. So this movement started in Tamil Nadu. Okay. So Periyar was a Dalit. Okay. He was a Dalit leader. So first he joined in Justice Party. Okay. One party in Tamil Nadu, Justice Party. So Justice Party main purpose were to acquire power, not to uplift for the Dalit. Dalit leader ଏଇଥିପାଇଁ political party ରେ join କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ at least ତାଙ୍କ issue ଟାକୁ raise କରିବେ ବା problem solve ହବ. But the other parties जो parties ରେ ସବୁ Dalit leaders participate କରିଥିଲେ ସେଇ party ମାନଙ୍କର main intention ଥିଲା ନା how to acquire power, not to solve the problems or not to uplift the Dalits. Dalit ମାନଙ୍କ standard କୁ raise କରିବା ତାଙ୍କର main intention ନଥିଲା। ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ Periyar ଯିଏ ଥିଲେ so he started non-Brahmin movements in Tamil Nadu. Okay, non-Brahmin means what? Now this movement is not against the Brahmins. Okay, it's not against the Brahmins, it's against the non-Brahmins. Means those who are not Brahmins but higher caste. So in Tamil Nadu also, the Dalits or untouchabilities, they are means exploited, बहुत exploited होते हैं. Okay, so there is no limit of exploitations. So in ଆମେ ଯଦି mahar caste ଦେଖିବା ସେଇଠି ତାଙ୍କୁ rights ମିଳୁନଥିଲା, but in Tamil Nadu, okay, so they are even politically, socially, economically exploited होते. तो ସେଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ନା Periyar different organization करे. Okay, ସେମିତି other ଯେମିତି ଅଛି Dalit Panther movement. Okay, ସେମିତି youth movement. So through different Dalit movements, Periyar started this movement. E.V. Ramaswamy, okay, Periyar. तो ଏଇଟା ଥିଲା Periyarଙ୍କର नेक्स्ट इज बहुजन समाज, जोटा आम जाने यूपी रे जो पार्टी अच्छी एसपी बीएसपी समाज पार्टी और बहु समाज पार्टी। तो जो बहु समाज पार्टी इट इज अ पार्टी मीन्स इट इज अ पार्टी ऑफ दलित। ओके, सो दिस पार्टी बहु समाज पार्टी इट स्टार्टेड बाय कांसीराम। ओके, वन दलित लीडर कांसीराम वाज a dalit, so कांसीराम started this movement। okay, and he realized that only through movement it is not possible to it is not possible to get the rights। तो rights मान को पाइबा पे simply जे movement कले हबनी, तो ता पे कौन ना rights पाइबा को हेले political power is must। okay, without political power it is not possible to solve the problems। so केते movement करिवो केते protest करिवो it is not possible। so for that reason he formed this Bahu Samaj and later it is known as Bahu Samaj Party। through political power they raised the issue of Dalits। okay, so it is a पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट आम जब कहीपर आम जमी प्रिवियसली डिस्कशन कले सोशल रिलीजियस माने रिलीजियस मूवमेंट थ्रू रिलीजियस मूवमेंट रे केमी लाइफ रे चेंजेस आसला थ्रू सोशल रिलीजियस सोशल रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट रे केमी लाइफ रे आसला जमी ज्योतिबा फुले कहले दैट इज द रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट ओके सोशल रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट नॉट सोशल रिलीजियस मूवमेंट बट दलित जो बीएसपी बहु समाज पार्टी जो था ओके सो ये मूवमेंट जो था इट इज ए पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट ओके political movement or the political rights of the Dalits. So these are some of the important leaders and different phases of movement of Dalits. So I hope you clear about this Dalit movement. So Dalit movement. So we discuss about what is Dalit. Then Dalit movement, its issues and challenges. So that I'm discussion what is the term of Dalit. Then socio-historical background. Then I'm discussion caste ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆଣ୍ଡ କାଷ୍ଟ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣର କେମିତି ଆଇ ମିନ୍ ଅଣ୍ଟଚେବିଲିଟି ବା ଦଳିତର କେମିତି ଅପଲିଫ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା ସେଇଟା ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କଲୁ ଦେନ୍ ସୋସିଓ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ଅଣ୍ଟଚେବିଲିଟି ସୋ ଅଣ୍ଟଚେବିଲିଟି ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସଟା କେତେ ରିଜିଡ୍ ହେଇଗଲା ମାନେ ଚାରିଆଡେ ସ୍ପ୍ରେଡ୍ କରିଗଲା ଓକେ ଦେନ୍ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣିକ ମିନ୍ସ ହାଉ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣିକ ଡୋମିନାନ୍ସ ମିନ୍ସ ସ୍କୋପ ଦେଲାନି ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କ ଅପଲିଫ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ପାଇଁ ବିକଜ ଅଫ ଦିସ୍ ଡୋମିନାନ୍ସ then we'll discuss about alternative religious movements alternative religious movement रे हम जिन देखले ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି religious ରେ ଆସିଗଲା cult जो भक्त cult ବା भक्ति movement ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟାକୁ କହୁଛେ so भक्ति movement indirectly बहुत help कला दलित upliftment ପାଇଁ okay then Buddhism Jainism so these two other religions apart from Hinduism so these two religions also help a lot for the upliftment of Dalit not directly but indirectly because of ଆମେ ଯଦି କନଭର୍ସନ କରିପାରିବା ବା ଫଲୋ କରିକି ରିଲିଜନ କୁ ଦଳିତ ଅପଲିଫ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ବି କହିପାରିବା so then we'll discuss about Dalit leaders so that I'm discussing Jyotiba Phule what is that Jyotiba Phule's contribution his contribution is what his contribution first is for education and for women education then tapare Dr. B.R. Ambedkar how he started a movement, Mahar movement, Periyar, how he started movement in Tamil Nadu, then Bahu Samaj Panther movement and Bahu Samaj Party for political rights. Okay. So then challenges. What are the challenges? So we discuss about many Dalit movements. Okay. The main challenges is what? Now challenge is what? Now in many cases it is a leaderless movement. These are the main leaders what we have discussed. But main thing is what now there is a problem of mobilization. ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି କହିଲି ଗୋଟେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟର ତିନିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଦରକାର ଯେମିତି କହିଲି ଲିଡରସିପ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି ଆଉ ରିସୋର୍ସେସ ତ many movements are failed main challenge ଥିଲା କଣ ନା in some cases there was no leaderless movement for that reason ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଯେମିତି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟଟା କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁଅସ୍ ପ୍ରୋସେସ କୋଉଠି ଗୋଟେ ଷ୍ଟପ୍ ହେଇଯିବ ପୁଣି ତ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହବ ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟଟାର ଚ୍ୟାଲେଞ୍ଜ ମେନ୍ ଥିଲା କଣ sometimes it is a leaderless movement second thing it is based on lack of ideology so ideology କିଛି ନଥିଲା particular ideology simply କୋଉ Dalit movement only simply for getting their civic rights okay so village ର जो public well ହଉ ବା ବହୁତ small rights ପାଇଁ କେତେଟା movement ତ ସେଠି କିଛି ideology ନଥିଲା so there is no a strong ideology behind any movement जो Dalit movement ଥିଲା ideology ନଥିଲା who will bring change ideology ଯେତେବେଳେ ଥାଏ ସେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ vast change ଆସେ so without ideology ଗୋଟେ change ଆସିବନି ତ Dalit the untouchability goes it is a major issue but change କାହିଁ ଆସିଲାନି the problem is that there is no ideology ନଥିଲା ସେଥିରେ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ideology ରେ ସେମାନେ ଆଗକୁ ଯିବେ for example ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି କହିଲି communism equality okay ବା egalitarian society ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛୁ classless society ସେମିତି କିଛି ନଥିଲା means Dalit their number is very few ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ କିଛି ideology simply they are protesting okay so they are exploited simply they protest then again stop so without ideology this changes ଆସିଥିଲା ଆଉ କଣ challenges ଆସିଥିଲା ନା resources means what na mobilization of people ବା ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହିପାରିବା membership so many Dalit Those who are exploited, there is their voice, but those who are not exploited, so they are not participate in the movements. That is also a challenge for that resources. How come resources? ଆମେ ଯଦି କହିବା power. So they the Dalit are exploited, deprived, and they don't have any political power. So how they will mobilize the people? Resource भी दरकार. So because of these challenges, some movements are success, or some movements are failure. Okay. So in this way, we conclude our this movement, Dalit movement. So next we will discuss about another movement, important movement. So gender-based movement, but now gender-based movement it is also a so like Dalit, ଆମେ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବା weaker section ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛେ weaker sections ମାନେ those who are exploited, deprived, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ weaker sections. They are weak in the society. Weak means not physically. Weaker section means the status in the society. Okay, ତାଙ୍କ position society ରେ କ'ଣ, ତାଙ୍କ social status କ'ଣ society ରେ. On that basis, some are superior and some are weaker. So who are weaker sections? Weaker sections ଯେମିତି କହିଲେ କି Dalits ho, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. Similarly, women are also weaker sections. Why? Now, because of their low status in the society, because of the exploitation of the women in the society. So, for that reason, they are come under the weaker section. Similarly, the tribes, tribals also weaker section. So, they come under the weaker section because they are also exploited, deprived, and they have also low status. So, simply, ଆମେ ଯଦି କହିବା weaker section କିଏ? ନା weaker section ସିଏ ଯାହାର low status ଥାଏ society. Okay, those who have low status in the society, they known as weaker section. So before we'll start with various movements, gender-based movement, by women movement. So first we'll clear about the concepts. Okay, the conceptual clarity is must. ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଦଳିତକୁ ଆମେ simplify କଲେ, okay, simply genderକୁ ବି ସେମିତି ଆମେ simplify କରି ବୁଝିବା. ତା ଦେହରେ ଆମେ ବହୁତ ସାରା concept discussion କରିବା. For example, ଯେମିତି କି sex, what is the difference between sex and gender? What is role and status? Then traditional expectation and women's status. Let us one discussion करवे. So first is we have to clear about what is the difference between a sex and a gender. I mean, sometimes we are confused that both are same. No, but in sociological it is totally different. Sex means what? Now, sex is biological difference between male and female. Biological differences. But gender means what? Now, socio-cultural differences between male and female. Remember, socio-cultural means society रे social status कौन और cultural status कौन होची. तो सही अनुसार male by female status occupy करते. So generally we know that Indian society is a patriarchal society, male dominated society. Okay. So obviously the status of women lower ହିଁ ଥିବ. तो ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ first clear ହେଇଗଲା sex and gender. Then we come to the role and status. So society रे I mean male और female कौन role play କରୁଛନ୍ତି, कौन status ଅଛି ତାଙ୍କର. So ଯେମିତି କହିଲି Indian society is a patriarchal society. Obviously the status of I mean men is above the women. Okay. And another thing is what now society by patriarchal society ମାନେ ଏମିତି system create କରୁଛି ଯୋଉଥିରେ status of women ସବୁବେଳେ low ହିଁ ରହିବ. Okay. Because of the dominance of men, the status ଟା ସବୁବେଳେ ରହିବ. କାହିଁକି ନା it is ଆମେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ concept discussion କରିବା status and role. So status to କହିଛି simply means sociology. Status means a social position in the society, in the social structure of the society. The society ଗୋଟେ ସ୍ଥାନକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ status. Role ମାନେ କ'ଣ ନା function. ଯୋଉ status ରେ ଆମେ ଅଛୁ ସେ status ର role କ'ଣ? Suppose as a counselor, what is my role? My status is a counselor, but what is my role? My role is to counsel others. So every status ରେ ଗୋଟେ role ଥାଏ. So similarly, gender ସହିତ status role କ'ଣ link ଅଛି? କ'ଣ ନା ଯେହେତୁ patriarchal society ରେ status of men is high, ତ ସେ ସବୁବେଳେ dominant ରେ ରହିବ. ଆଉ ସେ ଡୋମିନାଣ୍ଟ ରୋଲ ପ୍ଲେ କରେ। ଆଉ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଅଫ ଓମେନ୍ ଯେହେତୁ ଲୋ ଥିଲା ସୋସାଇଟିରେ, ତ ସେମାନେ ସେଇ ଟାଇପର ରୋଲ କଲେ। ତ ଏଇଠି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଆଡ୍ କରିବି, ସପୋଜ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ ଗୋଟେ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଅଛି, ଯେହେତୁ ଆମେ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଡିସ୍କସନ କରୁଛେ, ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ। ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ ମିନ୍ସ ହ୍ୱାଟ ନା role is distributed or divided among male and female. Okay, gender role means that what are the role of a man and what are the role of a woman. For examples, household duties. Okay, household work, ଘର କାମ ହଉ ବା caring ହଉ, ତ ଏଗୁଡା ହେଲା ହଉଛି କାରଣ women ମାନଙ୍କ କାମ। So men ମାନଙ୍କ କାମ କଣ ନା earning କରିବା। Okay, money earn କରିବା। अब money earn କରିବା dominance ରେ dominate ହେଇକି ରହିବା। Okay, obviously ଯିଏ earn करे ସେ ହିଁ dominate ରହିବ, ତ dominate କରିକି ରହିବା। So in this way what na the role is distributed। ଆଉ ଏଇଟା ବି କଣ ନା because of this patriarchal system। So patriarchal male dominated society ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଦଲିତରେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ brahminical society dominate over the Hindu society, ଏଇଠି ସେମିତି male dominance, the main problem is male dominance। So because of this male dominance, because of this patriarchy, the status of women କେବେ raise ହେଇପାରୁନଥିଲା, ଉପରକୁ ଯାଇପାରୁନଥିଲା। Not only the status is in, not only status increase ହଉନଥିଲା, but also କଣ ନା but also ସେମାନେ they are exploited and deprived from the rights of the society। ଯୋଉ rights ଟା men ମାନଙ୍କର ଅଛି ସେଇଟା female ମାନଙ୍କର ନାହିଁ, women ମାନଙ୍କର ନାହିଁ, and they are deprived from their rights। Okay, both are equal। ଆମେ ଯଦି ଏଇଠି ଜେଣ୍ଡରରେ ଆମେ ଟିକେ ବ୍ୟାକ୍ କୁ ଯିବା ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି କୁ, ଆମେ ଯେମିତି କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ କୁ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଡିସ୍କସନ କଲେ ଯେ କେମିତି ୟେଲି ବେଦିକ ଏଜ ରେ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ଥିଲା ଆଉ ଲାଟର ବେଦିକ ଏଜ ରେ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ କି ରିଜିଡ ହେଇଗଲା। ସେମ୍ କେସ୍ ଇନ୍ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଅଲସो ସେମ୍ happen in early Vedic age। Okay, in early Vedic age the status of women is high in the society। Okay, high in the society why na because the society is very simple, very complex। So there is no patriarchy। patriarchy ସେତେବେଳେ ନଥିଲା, male dominance ନଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ, ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ status ଟା ସବୁବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ହାଇ ରେ ରହୁଥିଲା। and their knowledge is ଏଇଠି ଯେମିତି କହିଲି major present day ରେ କଣ they are deprived from education, deprived from the decision making power। but ସେତେବେଳେ କଣ ନା early Vedic age ରେ ମାନେ ସେମିତି ନଥିଲା କିଛି, ଯେହେତୁ ସୋସାଇଟି ବହୁତ ସିମ୍ପଲ ଥିଲା। ଓକେ, ଲୋକଙ୍କ ଆଟିଚ୍ୟୁଡ ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ନଥିଲା, ବହୁତ ସିମ୍ପଲ ଥିଲା। ତ ସେଇ ସମୟରେ କଣ ନା ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ସବୁ ବେଶୀ ହାଇ ଥିଲା, ଦେ ଆର୍ ରେସ୍ପେକ୍ଟେଡ ବାଇ ଦ ସୋସାଇଟି। ୱାନ୍ ମୋର ଥିଙ୍ଗ, ତ ସେତେବେଳେ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଥିଲା ଯତ୍ର ପୂଜ୍ୟତେ ନାରୀ ତତ୍ର ଦେବତା ବସନ୍ତି। ସେତେବେଳେ ସେଇ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଟା ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦିଆଯାଉଥିଲା। ତ ଏଇଥିରୁ କଣ ନା ସେତେବେଳେ ବହୁତ ସାରା ଓମେନ ବି ଥିଲେ ହାଇଲି ଟ୍ୟାଲେଣ୍ଟେଡ, ମାନେ ହାଇଲି ଇଣ୍ଟେଲେକ୍ଚୁଆଲ ଓମେନ ବି ଥିଲେ, ଲାଇକ ଗାର୍ଗୀ, ବିଶ୍ଵବରା, ଲୋପାମୁଦ୍ରା, ତ ଏମିତି କିଛି ଥିଲେ। ତ ଏଇଥିରୁ ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ଯେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଅଫ ଓମେନ ବହୁତ ହାଇ ହିଁ ଥିବ। ବଟ୍ ସ୍ଲୋଲି ସ୍ଲୋଲି ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆଇ ମିନ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ହେଲା, ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥାରୁ ଯେମିତି କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆସିଗଲା, ତ ସୋସାଇଟି ରିଜିଡ୍ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଅଫ ଓମେନ ବି ସେମିତି ଡିକ୍ରିଜ ହେଇଗଲା। ଓକେ, ତ ସେ ଯୋଉ ହାଇ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଟା ପାଇଥିଲେ ସେଇଟା କଣ ହେଲା, ସପ୍ରେସ୍ ହେଇଗଲା, କାହିଁକିନା କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆସିଲା। କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ରେ ଅର୍ଥୋଡକ୍ସ ଆସିଲା, କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ରେ ଏଣ୍ଡୋଗାମି ଆସିଲା, ମ୍ୟାରେଜ ୱିଦିନ ଦ କାଷ୍ଟ, ମ୍ୟାରେଜ ରେଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ସନ୍ସ ଆସିଲା, ଯୋଉଟା କହୁଥିଲେ ଏଣ୍ଡୋଗାମି, ଏକ୍ସୋଗାମି, ଅନୁଲୋମ ପ୍ରତିଲୋମ ମ୍ୟାରେଜ। ଏ ଯୋଉ ରେଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ସନ ଆସିଗଲା ସୋସାଇଟିରେ, ତ ସେଇଟା ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଅଫ ଓମେନ କୁ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଲୋ କରିଦେଲା, କାରଣ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଅଲସୋ ରେଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟେଡ ବାଇ ଦିସ୍ ସିଷ୍ଟମ, କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ। ତ ସେଇଠି ତାଙ୍କ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଟା କଣ ହେଇଗଲା, ଲୋ ହେଇଗଲା। ତ ନାଉ କ୍ଲିୟର that how they play a role in the early Vedic age and what the role play in the later Vedic age or in Varna Vyavastha in caste system। so ଏମିତିରେ ହିଁ କଣ ନା ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଯୋଉ ଥିଲା ସେଟା କମି କମି ଗଲା। ତ ଏଇଟା ଥିଲା ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଆଉ ରୋଲ, ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଆଣ୍ଡ ସେକ୍ସ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସେସ୍। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଥିଲା ରୋଲ ଆଉ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍। ତ ଆମେ ଯଦି ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ କଣ୍ଟେକ୍ସ ଦେଖିବା, ତ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ କଣ୍ଟେକ୍ସରେ ବି ସେୟା ହିଁ ହଉଛି। ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ କହୁଛେ, ଆମେ ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜ କହୁଛେ, ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ କହୁଛେ, ଏବେ ବି ତ ସେୟା ହଉଛି। ଟେକ୍ ଦ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ, ମୁଁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଦେବି ଆ ସହିତ ଲିଙ୍କ କରିକି, ଜେଣ୍ଡର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ। ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ କହିଲେ, ସେମିତି ଜେଣ୍ଡର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ। ଜେଣ୍ଡର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ମିନ୍ସ ହ୍ୱାଟ ନା ପ୍ରୋସେସ ଅଫ ଲର୍ନିଂ, କିଛି ଲର୍ନ କରିବା, କିଛି ଶିଖିବା, ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ ହଉ କି ଇନଡାଇରେକ୍ଟଲି ହଉ କିଛି ଶିଖିବା। ଭାରିୟସ୍ ମେଥଡ ଅଛି, ଆମେ ଫର୍ମାଲି ଶିଖିପାରିବା, ଇନଫର୍ମାଲି ଶିଖିପାରିବା। ଫର୍ମାଲି ଆମେ ସ୍କୁଲ, ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନସ, ଆଇ ମିନ୍ ଫ୍ରମ ଆୱାର ଷ୍ଟେଟ, ଆମେ ବହୁତ ଜିନିଷ ଶିଖିପାରିବା। Simirally informal କଣ ନା informal ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଆମ family first agency of socialization ଆମ ଫ୍ୟାମିଲିରୁ ଆମେ ଶିଖିପାରିବା ଦେନ୍ ଆମ peer groups ହଉ neighbors ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ଆମ kin group ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ବା our kinship group ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କଠୁ ଆମେ ଶିଖିପାରିବା so in this way we learn many things directly indirectly so what is gender socialization ना from the beginning ଆମେ differentiate କରିଦଉଛେ जो रोल टाକୁ ଆମେ differentiate କରିଦଉଛେ so this is role for a girl child this is role for the boy child so same thing so ଏଇଠି କଣ ଗୋଟେ girl child କୁ socialize କରାଯାଉଛି ଯେ you have to behave like a girl okay so what is the expectation of society what is the expectation of family now you should behave like a girl and this is your work this is your duty okay you means କଣ ମାନେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ସପ୍ରେସ୍ ହେଇକି ରହିବ ମାନେ ନଟ୍ ସପ୍ରେସ୍ ମାନେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ହାଇ ଭଏସ ରେ କଥା କହିବନି ଏଟା କରିବନି ସେଟା କରିବ do's and don't do's okay so many restrictions are there okay so you have to follow that restriction so in this way ଗୋଟେ girl child ସେ socialize ହେଇଯାଉଛି okay ବାହାରକୁ ଯାଇପାରିବନି ଘରେ କାମ କରିବ okay education को importance ଦିଆଯାଉନି ସେଇଠି okay importance for marriage okay so in this way and socialize କରାଯାଉଛି I mean decision making ହେଇପାରିବନି so in this way from the beginning from family itself we are socialized ଯେମିତି girls କୁ ଏମିତି ରୋଲ ଦିଆଗଲା socialize କରାଗଲା ଯେ ତୁ ଏୟା କରିବୁ ଏୟା ତୋ ଡ୍ୟୁଟି similarly boys କୁ କଣ ନା boys କୁ dominant role ଦିଆଗଲା boys if girls play in the home the boys will play outside the house outside the home then ଗୋଟେ boy ସବୁ education facilities ପାଇପାରିବ okay he is allowed to go to the school ତ ଯେତିକି ସବୁ dominance ବା dominance ଯେତିକି ସବୁ socialize boy କୁ କରାଯାଉଛି ଆଉ ଯେତିକି sub dominance socialization ସବୁ girls କୁ କରାଯାଉଛି ତ from the beginning ହିଁ ଆମର socialization ସେଇ type ରେ ହଉଛି ତ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ girl child ଯେତେବେଳେ mature ବା adult ହଉଛି ସେତେବେଳେ ତା I mean ତା mind ରେ ହିଁ ସେଇଟା ରହିଯାଇଛି ଯେ always I should be subordinate ତ ସବୁବେଳେ ମୁଁ subordinate ହେଇକି ରହିବି ତ ସେଇଟା ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ରେ ହିଁ ରହିଥାଏ ସାଇକୋଲୋଜିକାଲି fit in mind that I am always subordinated not physically but mentally he is subordinated he accepted that I am weaker ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଯାଏ weaker section ସେ mentally ଭାବିଦିଏ ଯେ ମୁଁ weaker so boys ଯେହେତୁ from the beginning from socialization ସବୁ I mean facilities ପାଇଛନ୍ତି ସବୁ rights ପାଇଛନ୍ତି so they think that we are dominant okay ତ ସେଇ ତାଙ୍କର ବି ସେ ସାଇକୋଲୋଜି ସେଇଟା ପଚାରେ we are dominant so ଏଇ ଯୋଉ mentality because of this mentality what this is of mentality patriarchy system is still exist in our society ଏବେ ବି ଆମେ କହିବା ଯଦି ଏବେ ବି patriarchy ଅଛି male dominated society okay କେମିତି ନା for example ଗୋଟେ simple example ଦେବି so girls are not allowed to go outside after evening but boys are allowed to I mean up to 10 or 12 no problem okay because ଆମେ socialize ଏମିତି କରୁଛୁ ଯେ you are very strong and a girl you are very weak so ଯଦି ଇଭିନିଂ ରେ ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ girls ବାହାରକୁ ଗଲା ବି ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ ପିଲାଟାକୁ ଛାଡିଥିବେ maybe that small child is not able to protect himself ସେ ନିଜକୁ ପ୍ରୋଟେକ୍ଟ କରିପାରିବନି କିନ୍ତୁ ତାକୁ ଛଡା ହେଇଥିବ ଏଇଟା କେନା ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟି ତ ସେଇଟା ଛଡା ହେଇଥିବ ଯେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ଗୋଟେ ଆଡଲ୍ଟ ଝିଅ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ 5 ବର୍ଷର ଛୁଆକୁ ଛଡା ହେଇଥିବ ମାନେ ଏଇଟା କଣ ମାନେ ଏଇଟା ଆମ ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟି ପ୍ୟାଟ୍ରିଆର୍କାଲ ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟି ନାହିଁ ତ ସେଇଠି କଣ ସେ ଛୋଟ କଣ ପ୍ରୋଟେକ୍ଟ କରିପାରିବନି ବଟ୍ ଏଇଟା ଆମ ସୋସାଇଟି ସେଇ ଟାଇପର ଆମ ଉପରେ ଇମ୍ପୋଜ କରିଦେଇଛି ସେଇ ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟି ରହିଯାଇଛି so this is ଗୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦଉଥିଲି ଏମିତି ଯେ ଆମର କେମିତି ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ ଟାକୁ ଆମେ କେମିତି ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିବ୍ୟୁଟ କରିଦେଇଛେ କେମିତି ପ୍ୟାଟ୍ରିଆର୍କାଲ ସିଷ୍ଟମ କେମିତି ଏକ୍ସପେକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି ଓକେ what a society expect from a woman ତ ସେଇଟା ଏମିତି ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜ କରାଯାଇଛି ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଓମେନ ସବୁବେଳେ ଭାବୁଥିବ ଯେ ମୁଁ what what I have to do and not to do ତ ଆ ଭିତରେ କନଫ୍ୟୁଜନ ରହିକି ସେ ସବୁବେଳେ ସବମିଟ ପୋଜିସନରେ ଥାଏ ତ ଏତେ କଥା କହିବାର ମାନେ କଣ ନା ଏତେ କଥା କହିବାର ମାନେ କଣ ନା ଯେହେତୁ ସେମାନେ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୋଇଟେଡ ସପ୍ରେସ ହେଇକି ରହୁଛନ୍ତି ଡିପ୍ରାଇଭ ହେଇକି ରହୁଛନ୍ତି obviously they will raise their voice okay ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଏସବୁ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟେଡ ହେଲା ଯେମିତି ଦଲିତ ମାନେ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୋଇଟେଡ ସପ୍ରେସନ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଲିମିଟ କ୍ରସ ହେଇଗଲା then they raise their voice. ଯେମିତି କ୍ଲାସ ସିଷ୍ଟମରେ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ୱାର୍କର କ୍ଲାସ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୋଇଟେସନ exceed ହେଇଗଲା, then they started moving. Similarly, in case of women also, when the exploitation, suppression, depression ଯେତେବେଳେ ସବୁ exceed କୁ ପଳେଇଲା, ସେତେବେଳେ এই movement ସବୁ start ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay. So this is the introduction part of gender based movement. तो gender movement କାହିଁକି ହେଲା ଆମେ ତ origin ଜାଣିବା ନା. movement ତ ଅଛି ଆମେ simply discuss କରିଦବା ଏଇ movement ଟା ଏଇ purpose ପାଇଁ ହେଇଥିଲା, ଏଇ movement ଟା ଏଇ issue ପାଇଁ ହେଇଥିଲା, but what is the origin, why? ତା historical background को, ତା historical background ହଉଛି ତା historical background ହଉଛି our history, patriarchy বা male dominated society, how gender socialization, these are the some background behind these movements. Okay, now let's discuss about various movements of gender based movement. Okay, so we'll because there are many issues, there are many movements. Okay, and there are many issues, different issues in different movement strategies. So we'll start with before you come to India, Indian movement start kariya purbaru. So we first discuss about the first movement jota started ହେଇଥିଲା gender based. So that movement is what? Now that movement is known as feminist movement. Okay, remember feminist movement. Feminist movement means what? Now if this movement is started for the rights of women. So women ମାନଙ୍କର rights ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଏ ସବୁ movement ହେଇଥିଲା feminist movement. Feminine mean କଣ? Female जो କହୁଛି ସେଇଥିରୁ ହିଁ feminine concept ଅଛି. So feminist movement. So a feminist movement ର rights ପାଇଁ. So generally this feminist movement divided into three movements. Okay. ବା ଆମେ ତାକୁ ତିନିଟା wave of କହିପାରିବା. ଆମେ ଯେମିତି phases of discussion କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ different phases ରେ କେମିତି ଦଳିତ movement ହେଇଥିଲା, ଏଇଟା ବି ସେମିତି ତିନିଟା wave of feminist movement ବା ତିନିଟା movement କହିପାରିବା. So what are these movement? The first is liberal feminism. Okay, ଏ ଯୋଉ feminist movement under ତିନିଟା ଅଛି, ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି liberal feminism, then social feminism, then radical feminism. Okay, social and martial or radical feminism ତିନିଟା. ଆଉ ତିନିଟା feminist movement ର ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା ତିନିଟା issue. So first movement is liberal feminism. Okay, from the word itself clear, liberal. Okay, not like violent. So liberal feminism. So liberal feminism means what? Now this movement started by the women for the rights of voting power, political rights. So this movement started in UK. So এই movement ର main purpose ଥିଲା ଯେ political rights, କାହିଁକି ନା in that period women are not allowed to cast vote. ସେମାନେ voting power ତାଙ୍କର ନଥିଲା ବା participate in the politics ତାଙ୍କର rights ନଥିଲା. ତ voting power ପାଇଁ ସିଏ କଣ କରୁଥିଲେ ନା movement start କରିଥିଲେ, both political ଆଉ voting rights, because they are deprived, they are not exploited, they are deprived from their rights. ମନେ ରଖିଥିବ movement started ବହୁତ ପାଇଁ, ଗୋଟେ ତ exploitation ପାଇଁ ହୁଏ, deprive ପାଇଁ ବି ହୁଏ. Okay, and to bring change ପାଇଁ ବି ହୁଏ. ତ ଏଇଠି କଣ ଯେ feminist movement ହେଇଥିଲା, this is because of deprivation, because of deprive, because they are deprived from their rights. Okay, this is like a fundamental rights, right of freedom. So ସେଇଟା ତାଙ୍କର affect ହେଇଥିଲା, କାହିଁକିନା ଆମର ଯେତେ ସାରା constitution ଅଛି, ଆମର constitution borrowed constitution. So ମାନେ various country ରୁ ଆମେ different I mean terms ଆଣିକି ଆମେ ଆମ constitution ରେ add କରୁଛୁ. ତ similarly ଆମେ ଯୋଉ parliamentary ହଉ, democracy ହଉ, ଏଇଟା ସବୁ ଯୋଉ concept ଏଇଟା ସବୁ ଆମେ parliamentary form of government ମାନେ କଣ? Obviously voting political system. ତ ଏଇଟା ଆମର ଇଂଲଣ୍ଡ ରୁ ଆସିଥିଲା. ତ ସେଇଠି କଣ ନା ତାଙ୍କୁ voting right ଦିଆଯାଉନଥିଲା. Women's ମାନେ they are not allowed to cast vote. They are not allowed to part in the means join in the politics. କାହିଁକିନା ଗୋଟେ women empowerment first thing is what? Na require power. So without power nothing is possible. କିଛି ବି achieve କରିବା possible ନୁହେଁ. So political power is must. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଦଳିତ movement period ଯୋଉ ଯୋଉ movement ସବୁ ପଢିଲେ କେମିତି political party form ହେଇଥିଲା. So political party form ରେ political power through ହିଁ ଆମେ ଆମ rights ସବୁ achieve କରିପାରିବୁ. ତ similarly ସେଠି ବି ସେମିତି. So women have status but without any power. Okay. ମାନେ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ simple terms ରେ ଆମେ ଯଦି କହିବା tiger without teeth, no value. Similarly, in England, women's their status is okay, but they have no political power. They have no political decision power. So for that reason, they started this movement and known as liberal feminism. Okay, it is liberal. It is only a protest, not a violent form of movement. It is just a protest for their rights, for political rights. Next comes social and Marxist. ସେଇଟା କ'ଣ? Now this is related to economy, economic exploitation. First is deprived from the political right, but this is about exploitation. And Marx is a conflict theorist. Marx always discuss about this conflict, discuss about this exploitation. ଯେମିତି ମାର୍କ୍ସର theory ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ପଢିଥିଲେ capitalism, I mean industrial society, that how Marx discussed that because of this exploitation, there is conflict in the society, there is conflict in different caste, different classes, means capitalists or workers. So main cause of problem of women is what? Now this exploitation. So because exploitation means what? He discuss about economic exploitation. Economic field जो exploitation होची. First आता है political, এটা হচ্ছে economic field. Economic field केମିତି exploitation होची? Inequality. Inequality in economic terms means inequality in wage. ଆମେ जे देखी पारिए. Wage inequality केମିତି ना, we think that women are physically weaker and men are physically stronger. So on that basis, maybe both are doing the same work. ସେମାନେ same work କରୁଛନ୍ତି. But their ways is different. Why? It's because of our mentality. We think that women are very weak, physically weak, so means ତାଙ୍କ wage କମ ହବ. ଯୋଉଟା economic exploitation ହେଲା ନା ନାହିଁ, ଏଇଟା inequality ହେଲା ନା ନାହିଁ. So they are also deprived from their rights, economic rights. So it is same movement जो ହେଇଥିଲା social marxist. So this is against this exploitation, economic exploitation हो ବା work place ରେ जो exploitation हो, तो ତା ପାଇଁ ଏ ସବୁ movement start ହେଇଥିଲା for economic rights. So next is what? The next is radical. So radical feminism. First is liberal. Next is radical, social Marxist. Then radical feminism. Radical feminism. Why the name term is radical? First one is liberal. Why it is radical? So why it is radical? It is a radical form of movement. ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି movement ର forms କହିଥିଲି, ଯେମିତି reform movement ଅଛି, revivalist movement ଅଛି, ଆଉ revolutionary movement ଅଛି. ତ ସେଇଟାକୁ ବି ଏଇଠି apply କରିପାରିବ. ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି liberal movement जो liberal feminist movement is a reform movement. It's just a reform. ମାନେ just ଗୋଟେ society ଖାଲି ଗୋଟେ political power ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ fight ଟା କରୁଥିଲେ. Means partial modification in their life, not total change in the life. So status of women same ରହୁଛି, but partial change ଆସିଲା. Means political power ଟା ସେ ପାଇଲେ ସେତିକି. Radical ଟା ତାପରେ socio marxist ଟା କ'ଣ ନା, ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି mix. Okay. ଆଉ last ଟା ଯୋଉ ରହିଲା radical is a revolutionary form of movement. Okay. Revolutionary form of movement ବା ନା radical change in the society, radical transformation. Revolution means total transformation of the society. तो ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ radical ଦିଆଗଲା. ତ radical ଏଇଥିପାଇଁ ଦିଆଗଲା, the all cause, ତ women oppression ବା suppression ର ହଉ, exploitation ର ସବୁଠୁ main cause ହଉଛି patriarchy, male dominated society. ତ political rights ମାଗିବା କ'ଣ ଦରକାର? It's their rights. ତ ଏଇଟା rights ଟା ମଗା ହଉଛି. education rights ଟା ମାଗିବା କ'ଣ ଦରକାର? ଏଇଟା ବି ଗୋଟେ rights. Similarly ଆମେ wage जो economic exploitation होची, equal wage କାହିଁ ଦିଆଯାଏ? ତ ସବୁବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ women ସେ ସବୁବେଳେ ମାନେ ମାଗେ, but it's her right. ଏ ଯୋଉ ମାଗିବାଟା କାହିଁ ମାଗୁଛି? It is because of the male dominance. Similarly ଆମେ ଯଦି in general simple sense ରେ ଆମେ ଯଦି family କଥା discussion କରିବା, so family ରୁ ଦେଖ ଯେହେତୁ male members are the earning members, ତ ସବୁ କିଛି I mean female member ଯେ ତାକୁ ମାଗିବାକୁ ପଡେ ସବୁବେଳେ, from the beginning, from birth till death ତାକୁ ମାଗିବାକୁ ପଡେ. Before marriage parents के ऊपर से dependent हुए, after marriage husband के ऊपर dependent हुए, then in old age I mean son के ऊपर dependent हुए. So in this way he is a dependent only, not independent. तो dependent ମାନେ କ'ଣ? ସବୁବେଳେ ମାଗିବ but depend ହେଇକି ରହିବ ଅନ୍ୟ ଉପରେ. So see, I mean first depend on father, then depend on husband, then depend on sun. तो तार माने एटी dominate किए और subordinate किए. So obviously male are dominated और women are the subordinated. So ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଯୋଉ radical movement start ହେଲା यार, they realize, okay, the feminist, the radical feminists realize they just fight for the political rights, fight for the economic right is not sufficient because it is our fundamental rights. So why ଆମେ subordinate ହେଇକି ରହିବା? We should have equal status. Society ରେ ଆମର same status ରହିବା ଦରକାର. ତ ଆମେ I mean why we are under the men? Why we are depend on the men? ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ସେ କହିଲେ ଯେ at least all cause of this exploitation ଆଉ ଯୋଉ deprivation the cause ହଉଛି patriarchy or male dominant society. ତ ଏଇ movement start ହେଲା against the patriarchy, against the male dominated society. Okay. So now you see that all these few movements, okay, are what? Now these movements are for the rights of women, for rights of different purpose. ଯେମିତି କହିଲି education rights ହଉ, economics rights ହଉ. ମୁଁ ଆହୁରି ଗୋଟେ example ଦେବି. Okay. So there are many schemes for upliftment of girls in our country, in Indian context. Many like suppose बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, ବା ବହୁତ ସାରା ସ୍କିମ୍ ଅଛି means girls promotion ପାଇଁ. But one thing ଆମେ ବୁଝିବା ଦରକାର ଯେ ତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସ୍କିମ୍ ମାନେ ଆବଶ୍ୟକ କଣ? ଯଦି ଆମେ ସେ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଟା ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଇଦେବା ତାହେଲେ ମାନେ ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା କଣ? ସିମିଲାରଲି ଯଦି ସୋସାଇଟିରେ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବା ଓମେନ୍ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟର କେତେଟା ଇସ୍ୟୁ ଯେମିତି କି ଡାଉରି ରେପ୍ ଉପରେ ସେମିତି, ତ ଯଦି ସପୋଜ ନାଉ in our country the rape rate is increasing, ତ why women are insecure? ଆମକୁ ଏତେ ଲ କାହିଁ କରିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି? Okay, why there is a modification legislation ହଉ, IPC ହଉ, ବହୁତ ସାରା ଆମେ କରିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି. Why women are not safe? Why? It is because of this male dominance. When if ଆମର ଯଦି ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟିରେ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ଆସିବନି, ଯେତେ ଲ କଲେ ଯେତେ ଯାହା କଲେ ବି କିଛି ଲାଭ ନାହିଁ. So these movements are ଖାଲି just କଣ partial, okay, partial movements. ତ ଏତେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ହଉଛି but still women are exploited. ତ ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି କହିଲି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ଜିନିଷ, it is continuous process but ଗ୍ୟାପ୍ ଦେଇକି ଯାଇଥାଏ. ଗୋଟେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଲା, କିଛିରେ ରହିଗଲା, ପୁଣି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହବ, ପୁଣି ରହିଯିବ. ଟେକ୍ ଦ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ମୁଁ ଯଦି କହୁଛି, ଫର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ସେ ନିର୍ଭୟା କେସ୍ ହଉ କି ରିସେଣ୍ଟ ଯେତିକି ସବୁ କେସ୍ ହଉଛି, କାହିଁକି ମାନେ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ଗୋଟେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା, ପ୍ରୋଟେଷ୍ଟ ହେଲା, ତାପରେ ଷ୍ଟପ୍ ହେଇଗଲା. ଓକେ, then we think that the problem is solved, ଆଉ ସେମିତି କ୍ରାଇମ ହବନି. ବଟ୍ ଏଗେନ୍ ହେଲା, ସେମିତି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରୋଟେଷ୍ଟ କରିଦେଲେ, ବସ୍ ଷ୍ଟପ୍ ହେଇଗଲା. ଆମେ ଭାବିଲେ ହଁ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ସଲ୍ଭ ହେଇଗଲା ନା, ଏଗେନ୍ ପୁଣି ରିସେଣ୍ଟ ଏବେ ଯୋଉ କେସ୍ ହେଇଥିଲା ସେମିତି, ଯୋଉ ହାଇଦ୍ରାବାଦ କେସ୍. ତ ଏମାନେ କଣ ମାନେ ଏଇଥିରୁ ଆମକୁ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି ଯେ ଯେତେ ଆମେ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ କଲେ, ଯେତେ ଲ କଲେ ବି କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହବନି, ମାନେ କିଛି ବି ସଲ୍ଭ ହବନି until unless there is change in our mind. ସେତେବେଳେ ଯାଇକି ଯୋଉ ଓମେନ୍ ଅପରେସନ ଅଛି ଆଉ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବା ଦରକାର ହିଁ ନାହିଁ. ଯେତେବେଳେ ମେଣ୍ଟାଲିଟିରେ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ଆସିଯିବ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଦରକାର ହିଁ ନାହିଁ. ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ନା we should first change our mentality. ତ ଯେତେ ସବୁ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ହଉଛି, this movement are for partial, not for total transformation. ତ ରାଡିକାଲ ଫେମିନିଜିମ୍ ଯୋଉ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଏଇଟା ଟୋଟାଲ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଫର୍ମେସନ ହେଲାନି ଏଇଟା. ଦ ମେନ୍ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି, ଯେମିତି ତିନିଟା କର ମୁଁ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି କହିଲି, ସବୁ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟରେ ଗୋଟେ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି ଥାଏ. ଓକେ, ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ମାର୍କ୍ସିଷ୍ଟ ବା ସୋସିଆଲ, ତାଙ୍କ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି ହେଉଛି ମାର୍କ୍ସିଜମ, ମିନ୍ସ ଇକ୍ୱାଲିଟି, ଇକ୍ୱାଲ ୱେଜ୍. ସିମିଲାରଲି ରାଡିକାଲର କଣ? ରାଡିକାଲ ହେଉଛି ରିଭଲ୍ୟୁସନାରୀ ଆଇଡିଓଲୋଜି, ଟୋଟାଲ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଫର୍ମେସନ ଏକାଥରେ. ଓକେ, ଟୋଟାଲ ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସଫର୍ମେସନ ଅଫ ଦ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ୍ ଅଫ ଓମେନ୍, ବଟ୍ ନଟ୍ ପସିବଲ. ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କଣ ଏଇଟା ଲିମିଟେଡ ରହିଯାଉଛି ଏ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଯାକ. ଓକେ, ସକ୍ସେସ୍ ହେଇପାରୁନି. So this is about the emergence of movements. Okay, women movement and gender-based movement. Now we'll discuss about some of the other issues, particularly related to India. तो गोटे तो मैं कहदेली yearly feminist campaign जोड़ा ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay, so in India the yearly campaign movements are inspired by the feminist movement. Okay, like feminism, liberal feminism, social radical feminism. So ସେଇଠୁ inspire ହେଇକି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ different parts ରେ movement start ହେଇଥିଲା, ଯେମିତି different issue କୁ ନେଇକି different ପାର୍ଟ ଅଫ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ଏଇ ଫେମିନିଷ୍ଟ କ୍ୟାମ୍ପେନ୍ ସବୁ ହେଇଥିଲା। ଓକେ, it's not a radical movement, campaign ହେଇଥିଲା। ଓକେ, campaign meant to raise the issue. The state or the community or the society should know what is the problem of a woman, what are the issues of women. So they just raise their issue regarding their problems. Next movement is what now it is a movement against the dowry. Okay. So you know that in India the major problem is for like child marriage, sati pratha thau, ki widow remarriage, there is no chances. Similarly, one bad practice, evil practice of India is in our Indian society is what na dowry, bride price. So that is also a big issue, big exploitation of women in our society, in our Indian society. So we know what is dowry, but why still dowry is practicing? Okay, but in a different form. Okay, maybe there are legislations are there, laws are there, but it's not a it's valueless. Okay, still dowry is they are giving. Okay, so dowry is also exploitation. It's both economic and psychological exploitation on women. So for this reason, when dowry issue is increasing in our country, so then different organizations they started movements against the dowry. For example, the first step, the movement first step taken by Progressive Organization of Women (POW), Progressive Organization of Women (POW), started in 1975. So 1975 रे डाउरी अगेंस्ट ଗୋଟେ movement start ହେଇଥିଲା when dowry issue increase ହେଲା then I mean जो burning କରାଗଲା dowry burning जो କୁହାଯାଏ ଭିତରେ dowry ନ ଦେଇ ପାରିଲେ ଜଳେଇ ଦଉଥିଲେ ତ ଏଇ ଇସ୍ୟୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ increase କଲା ତ ଏଇ organization जो ଥିଲା progressive organization of women he started voice against the women okay started against the issue or started against the exploitation of women similarly other organizations, for examples like Mahila Dakshata Samiti. Okay, it is the first women's organization. It's started in Delhi. Then similarly, Stree Sangharsha. Okay, these are some organizations, not backed by government. It's backed by some NGOs. Okay, social organizations. Then Nari Raksha Samiti. Okay, these organizations fight for the exploitation against women. Then in 1980, finally, after the movement, after the agitation by different organizations, by different NGOs, finally, the government for means passed a law. Okay, so law against dowry related crime. So first passed in 1980. So 1980 the first जो exploitation or crime against dowry crime against law pass ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay. So after that also many laws are passed for dowry to solve the problem of the dowry problem. So for that reason now there is a fear because of this protest because of this law. Now there is a fear to take bribe or dowry. So this is movement against the dowry. So last is what now against agitation against the rape. Okay. So first is feminist for political rights, economic rights, and against the patriarchy. Next is against the dowry, and last one is agitation against rape. So a feminist group started this movement in 1970. Okay. So still you see in 19 in till 1920 now it's 2019 in present day context rape still rape is going on. Okay, but this movement you see that before 40 years back, before 40 to 50 years back, this movement started in 1970 by a feminist group. But still, the rate of rape is increasing in our country. Why? Various causes are there. There is no strict laws are there in our country. There is no, if there is strict laws are there is no strict enforcement or implementation is not there. Okay. So there is lacuna in our judiciary system. our law system, okay, not judiciary system, particularly in our implementation. Okay, judiciary is working their job. Okay, so they are formulating these laws. But one thing is what? Now the legislatives. So they formulate the laws, they pass the laws, but it is not properly implemented in the ground level. Then this problem will be not solved. So for that reason, still the rape rate is increasing day by day. So ଏଇଥିରେ ବି ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା one reason of this exploitation or this crime is what same thing, male dominant societies, our attitudes. So we first change our attitude, then the society will change. Then there is no need of any kind of movements. Okay, so that may be tribal movement, ମାନେ Dalit ho, tribal ho, jaha ho. So this is about women movement, and last one is tribal movement. So in tribal movement ରେ ବି ବହୁତ ସାରା movements ଅଛି. Okay, so tribal, what are the major issues behind the tribals? The main thing is that the exploitation of the tribals by the mainstream people, exploitation of the tribals by the by our system, our political system or social system, that the exploitation also. So first we'll see what are the causes of this tribal movement. Tribal movement kind hela. They are happy with their life in their because they are the indigenous people. They are confined in the natural setting. So then why some tribal movements are started in India? Okay. So first we discuss about who are the tribes. The tribes, a group of members, those who have a common territory. Okay. They have common culture, common dialect, and they have way feeling, and they have a bond among themselves. So ଏଇଟା କଣ simple terms ଆମେ tribe କରୁଛେ. Tribes ତ ବହୁତ ସାରା ଅଛନ୍ତି. Okay. Different part of India, eastern, southern, ସବୁ part ରେ ଆମର tribes ଅଛନ୍ତି. And different part of society, different part of India ରେ different type ର movement started ହେଇଛି ବା different tribes ଅଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ different movement started ହେଇଛି. So first we'll discuss about what are the causes of this tribal movement. The main cause is what? The main cause is what? Exploitation, deprivation. Okay, exploitation and deprivation. Exploitation means what? Now they are exploited by the system. Keମିତି? For example, one problem is industrialization, development induced displacement. So they are deprived from their land, deprived from their forest. Okay, so deprived from their house. So deprivation. ଯେତେବେଳେ industrialization ହଉଛି, obviously ସେତେବେଳେ displacement ହବ. So they are for that reason they are deprived means they are displaced from one place, and later they are not compensated. That is one problem. Second thing, how they are exploited? They are exploited by the mainstream people. Okay, those were not the tribes. So they exploited them. How? Now, because tribals are very simple. So the mainstream people or the contractors, particularly the contractors purchase their land in a very less price. बहुत कम टंका रे तांको land किनिକି ନେଇଯାନ୍ତି because they need money, tribals, because they have no other source of occupations. When they are displaced, then what will they do? So they need money. So ସେଥିପାଇଁ ବହୁତ cheap price ରେ they sell their land. Similarly, industrialization ହେଲେ in time of industrialization also ଯୋଉଠି industry setup ହବ ସେଇ land ଟା ବି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମାନେ sell କରିବେ ବା purchase କରିବେ ଯୋଉ industrialist ସେମାନେ ବି ବହୁତ cheap price କମ ପଇସା ଦେଇକି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦିଅନ୍ତି. So in this way, they are exploited. Sometimes they forcefully snatch their lands, tribal lands, or deforestation ho, by destruction ho. So in this way, the tribal peoples are exploited by the industrialist ho, or by the system. I mean, the system देखिबा केମିତି? Now, for example, there are many schemes are there. Okay, many programs are there, but that is not reach to the tribals. So tribals ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ସେଟା ପହଞ୍ଚି ପାରୁନି, ସେତିକି ତାଙ୍କର development ହେଇପାରୁନି, infrastructure development ହେଇପାରୁନି, communication development ହେଇପାରୁନି, education ରେ development, health sector ରେ development ହଉନି. ତ ସେତିକି development ହେଲେ ହିଁ ତାଙ୍କର ଯାଇକି status, ଆମେ ତ ସବୁବେଳେ ଯେହେତୁ ପଢୁଛୁ status ଟାକୁ ଆମେ status role ଯେମିତି, so status increase କରିବ. So one thing ଗୋଟେ ତ ଏପଟେ exploitation ହଉଛନ୍ତି by the system, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ deprive ହଉଛନ୍ତି, exploitation ହଉଛନ୍ତି, ଏପଟେ ବି ସେମିତି they are deprived from their rights. The program and policies ସବୁ ଅଛି. Okay, so they are deprived because of lack of awareness. They are deprived from their rights. So because of this exploitation, because of this deprivation, So they started different movements. ତାପରେ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବା ସେମିତି ଯଦି ଦେଖିବାକୁ ଗଲେ ଆହୁରି ବି ସବୁ ଇସ୍ୟୁ ଆସିବ ଯେମିତି କି so ସେମାନଙ୍କ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ରାଇଟ୍ ସେମିତି କିଛି ନାହିଁ ଦେ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ବହୁତ ଲେସ୍ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ପାର୍ଟିସିପେସନ କରନ୍ତି ତାପରେ କଣ ନା ଅନଇକ୍ୱାଲ ଇକୋନୋମିକ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅନଇକ୍ୱାଲ ଇକୋନୋମିକ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ମିନ୍ସ ୱାଟ ନା ଯୋଉଠି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇଛି ସେଇଠି ଆହୁରି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହଉଛି ବଟ୍ ଯୋଉଠି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଜମାରୁ ନାହିଁ ଆଇ ମିନ୍ where there is no road no communication so ସେଇଠି ଜମାରୁ ବି ନାହିଁ health facilities ନାହିଁ ଏମିତି ନାହିଁ ତ that is unequal economic development ତାପରେ ହଉଛି କଣ extreme competition for economy तो आजिकल जो एक्सट्रीम कंपटीशन होची फॉर इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो बा डैम जहाँ भी हो तो से जो कंपटीशन है कौन है ना हु आर सफरिंग द ट्राइबल पीपल आर सफरिंग बिकॉज दे आर द forest dwellers or hill dwellers so in this way and another is defective development policies so defective development policies कौन है ना at least what are the basic need of the tribals that is important so defective policy हमें कौन कहूँ ना actually what is the need of the area for example there is a particular tribal area so what is their need their need is health education or food or infrastructure we should focus on that area particular area but ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରାଇବ୍ର ଗୋଟେ ଡିମାଣ୍ଡ ଥିବ ବଟ୍ ଆମେ ପଲିସି ଏମିତି କରିବା ଯୋଉଟା ତା ଆଇ ମିନ୍ ତା କାମରେ ଆସିବନି ଓକେ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ୟୁଜଲେସ୍ ଫର ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ so because of this reason okay because of this means lack of proper understanding of the ground reality because the lawmakers or the policy makers they simply formulate the policies but they are not aware about the what is the real situation of or real requirement of the tribal people so they just simply formulate the policies and implement it and another problem is what now those policies are perfect but that is not properly implemented in the ground so ठीक ground रे जाके सेटा implement ହେଇ पारुନି so there is a lack of what lack of defective our policy formulation a lack of I mean implementation ଅଛି ଆଉ ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆଉ କଣ ନା corruptions so all these things okay ଯଦି ସବୁ ମିଶିବା so all these things are the cause of exploitation and deprivation of tribal people so for this exploitation causes ଆମେ discussion କଲେ so ମୁଁ just କହିଦେବି ମୁଁ ତ note already ଦେଇ ଦେଇଛି ଖାଲି important ସବୁ revolts ର movement ର tribal ନା କହିଦଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି Tama revolt so led by Bholanath Sahai it is against the British oppression then Kherwar movement started in 1833 ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି କଣ ନା independent territory ପାଇଁ for their lands fight କରିଥିଲେ ତ the leader name is Bhagirathi Majhi then Santal revolt it started in 1855 it's against the landlords exploitation against the zamindari system then Bhokta movement okay it started in Chotnagpur it against the what now it is against the exploitation issues are agriculture revivalist and political territory but ତାଙ୍କ lands ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ movement କରିଥିଲେ so against the exploitation then Bisa revolt started in 1895 till 1901 it is against the zamindars and britishers and then Midnapur movement started in 1918 to 1924 it is against it is an economic issue means against the low wage okay. So these are some of the important tribal movements in India. So today we discuss about Dalit movement. Then what are the issues of Dalit? Then different Dalit leaders and different phases of Dalit movement. Then we discuss about the issues. Then discuss about the gender-based movement. We discuss that what are the main, what is the historical background? Means what is the background behind the movement? How women are exploited. Then we discuss about different movements like feminist movement and like liberal, social, radical. Then we discuss about that in Indian context. So liberal movement, then against the dowry, against the rape, these issues, and finally we discuss about the tribes. Who are the tribes? What are the main cause of tribes? And what are the movements of tribes? So with this, we complete our this block and with this I conclude my session. If you have any doubts, learners, you can ask me. Learners, you have any doubt?
Thank you, sir. Students, do you have any question to sir? Any? No question. Thank you, Manas sir.
Thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank-
much. So tomorrow again you will join for into our next session. So
Yes, sir.
thank you very much, learners. So you will do join on tomorrow 9 a.m. Thank you very much to all of you. सब लेफ्ट कर दो सब लिफ्ट कर दो